All right, in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how to build a fitness coaching business that does well over 10K per month. Now, whether or not you actually fucking do it is up to you. But I know this shit works, and this isn't going to be a video where, I dream outcome, dream outcome, dream outcome you, or I try to sell you some bullshit. If you want that, if you want someone to tell you how easy it is and how you too could be on the fucking beach with a little laptop, sipping a fucking tiki maha, then I'm not your guy. Probably go to some other fucking business guru. But this video is going to outline the exact steps you need to take to grow your fitness coaching business. Just up to you to do it. Now, you might be asking, why the fuck should you listen to this guy? Okay, I used to be a personal trainer at LA Fitness. It was then that I found out I was super passionate about coaching and I didn't want to do anything else with my life. I was previously working a warehouse job. I worked at a fucking sandwich parlor and I fucking hated it. And I was on the slicer slicing that meat and I was like, fuck, this cannot be it. This cannot be what I'm doing for the rest of my life, because if this is it, then I might as well just end it, right? And I worked at LA Fitness and I fucking loved training, but the problem was I wasn't making any income. I actually was top trainer within like my first 4 months of the company, and I was still living paycheck to paycheck. I sold like 10, 15K in a month in deals and training deals, like sessions, and my pay was jack shit. It was fuck all. And it was then that I realized like this outcome that they were promising me of like, oh, it's possible for a trainer to make 100K a year was fucking bullshit. Because I did the math. I would have to work like 80 sessions a week at my current pay rate to make $100,000 a fucking year. So when I was charging $100 and something per session, I was only getting paid fucking 30. And I was like, that's not fair at all. So it was then when I decided to take it all online and really build that business, because I was good at the marketing, I was good at the sales, but I just hadn't tapped in the online market. And by June, I grew my online fitness coaching business to $87,000 with Only Fitness. This was before I started doing mentorship. So unlike all these other fitness fucking coaching business gurus online telling you how to fucking scale, I've actually done it successfully. I made a lot of mistakes going there. If I fucking had to do it again, I would do it a lot more efficiently, but I've done it, and that's what matters. More proofs down here. And overall, what I'll be showing you too is one of my clients, Reagan, right? We started working together around late 2025. Now you can see the monthly followers gained, and she just hit like $6,000 to $7,000 in a week at the time of filming this video. And this is when we just launched coaching, and she went full time into it and left her job. In addition to that, one of my clients, Mark, right? He hit his first 10K month. When we started, he reported his income was 5,000. He was running ads. He wasn't posting. He was overthinking, overwhelmed everywhere, fucking too many clients due to poor fulfillment systems. So it took us 2 months. We doubled the fucking revenue. Pretty easy. Another one of my clients, Robbie, I was an advisor in his business. Did I fucking do this for him? Absolutely not. I'm not going to lie to you guys. I was an advisor in his business during this time. So I helped him get to $100,000 a month in his business. By the time we started, I believe we were at like 37 something thousand dollars a month. And then, by the time we finished, we were at like 60 to 70. And then a little after that, he shot me this text and was like, yo, JP, we fucking did it. And that was awesome. So I still remember that moment. It's something I take pride in. I fucking love this guy. He's an absolute G. But yeah. And then we got Spencer. He started working with me at the start of his fitness coaching journey. And pretty much since the start of his business until now at this point. Been together about 6 months. Started off at the academy, then kind of went into the partnership for a little bit more one-on-one support. And then he ended up with his first 10K month within those 6 months. In addition to that, many of you know him as Runvis Coaching. All right. I was an advisor in Runvis Coaching's business as well. And I helped him with, more importantly, like the business fulfillment system side of things, as well as just like giving him a little bit of direction, right? Keeping that head on a tight swivel. As a business owner, there's constantly fires need to be put out. So helped him with that direction as well. The point of me telling you that is not for me to sell you anything. The point of me telling you this is so you believe me when I tell you that the shit I'm about to show you fucking works. And if you implement it, it will work for you. So let's dive into section 1. If this was all you took away from this video, you could probably be a successful online coach. And that's rule number 1, is that you have to become the person capable of scaling a business. A lot of times people do not scale, not because they don't have the right strategy, the right fucking posting cadence, whatever. It's because they're not the person they need to be. They haven't yet crafted the identity of the individual that can scale a business up to 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, $100,000 a month. And they're constantly fucking over anxious. They're overthinking every single move they make. They don't have this business owner mindset. They have an employee mindset. What is an employee mindset? It's what I like to call it the puss mindset. It's like, oh, I'm too scared to take risks. I'm too scared to do this. That's what I call puss mindset, right? So they're operating in this fucking pussy mindset and they're unable to scale their business because they're still stuck thinking they're working at McDonald's. Unfortunately, this is the case for a lot of online fitness coaches. Yes, even those that are like 50 to 60K per month that are stuck in their fucking business. You cannot grow from the same state. And until you recognize that, you will be stuck in your business. You have to detach from the outcome, and you need to recognize that in order to build this fucking business, you will have to grind. I'm sorry, you will have to grind. I'm not the kind of guy to sell you this dream outcome and tell you you're going to be sitting on a fucking beach with tiki mahas, sipping on them fucking in the Bahamas. It's not going to happen until a long while. You got some fucking time to get there, pal. All right? It's going to take a lot of fucking work, and I believe that every individual that wants to be a successful, hungry entrepreneur is going to have to go through a period in their lives where they work and work and work and work. And that's what your life is. But here's the positive thing. You don't have to do that for the rest of your life. For 3 to 5 years, cool. You might have to do it, but you won't have to do it for the rest of your fucking life. So if you just took away that piece from this fucking video alone, you would be successful in business because you would have the hunger and the ability to sustain that level of hunger for a period of 3 to 5 years. I do believe that's what it takes to be successful. If you just critically fucking think and work hard and get help and aren't afraid to ask for help and don't have some massive ego, you will be successful in business. Okay. So that's number one. And then we'll get into the rest of it. But overall, I'm going to speed through this section. Business setup, pretty easy. As an online fitness coach, especially if you're not really starting yet, or maybe you're pre-revenue, or, revenue is not really that high, maybe around 3-ish per month. You don't really need to do a whole lot. What I would recommend is, set up an LLC or find out what kind of corporation structure works for you. Set up an LLC in your state. Just look up your state's regulations. If you're watching this from the United States, follow the guidelines there. Go to your state's website. They'll have detailed instructions on how to do this. Some can be a little bit tricky. If not, you'll just be considered a sole proprietor because you're an independent contractor. It's fine. And then you need waivers and consent form. I'll give you guys a prompt you guys can use for Claude. And then pick a delivery mechanism. Don't fucking overthink it. All right, just pick one. Google Sheets plus WhatsApp, Trainerize, or Kahunas. What do you want to use? Pick something, stick with it, keep it. Clients aren't paying you for your fucking app. You're not a software company. You're an online fitness coach. Stop it. I work with so many online fitness coaches that obsess over the fucking triple step funnel automation sequence, but they're not even cracking like 20K a month. I'm like, bro, what are we doing? Right? We got to crack like 50 in order to worry about this shit. So you're not a software company. Don't worry about it. If the answer is like, if it's not, how do I get more clients, or how do I make my existing customers more valuable? You're probably asking the wrong question. Those are the only two questions you should probably be focused on right now based upon the archetype that's probably watching this video. Okay. So yeah, just pick up delivery mechanisms, not that deep. And then this is the prompt you can use for Claude. You can go ahead and screenshot this. I'll give you a second. Uno, dos, tres. There you go. You can just copy and paste that and then give it your state and then just give it that and then you'll be good to go. Have people sign that. And then let's get into the offer. So how do we actually design an offer, a fitness coaching offer that's worth $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, $8,000, right? Well, we definitely can't get there by offering the same thing everyone else is offering. And so how do we actually like map this out? Well, I've created this little picture for you, this little pretty graphic, and it makes it pretty easy for me to explain, but I'm going to go over the components of your offer. And by the time you're done with this section, you will know exactly how to create a high ticket fitness offer. You will know what components need to be in it, and you will know how to get clients good results from a business standpoint. This is with the understanding that you have a good understanding of anatomy and physiology, and you actually know how to fucking program. Okay. So you should already know how to program for people before you even do this, because I don't want to be liable for you offering a shitty service. Developing your offers. Before we even talk about the offer, we have to identify a couple questions and get the answer to a couple questions first. Number one, what person are you actually helping here? Understand the person. Not by person, I don't mean busy dads or busy moms. I mean what this person actually deals with on like a day-to-day basis. You do this before making any product. Think about it. There needs to be a problem for a product to exist, right? So you define what that problem is, what the person is that's struggling with the problem. And that way you can then map out a way to get a solution. But if you don't know who the fuck it is, then you're not gonna be able to map out an offer. So number one, just think about the person that you want to help. My go-to is this. If I gave you a fuckload of clients, who would you turn away? Who would you not want to work with? And who would you want to work with? Pretty simple. Define out what problem they have, and then define out what the mechanism is. How are you going to get these people to the outcome? For me, for example, it was like people that struggle with the binge eating stuff, right? That was their problem. My mechanism was like, I had a couple different ways. I would do not really tracking calories. It would be like hand-sized portions, X, Y, and Z. Those were like the methods that I used to get a person a result. You just have to have like a unique name for it in some way. So a mechanism, a time frame, how long is it going to take to get them the result? And then proof. What proof do you have that you can actually do this for people and sustain that? If you don't have proof, you're not going to be able to charge a high ticket price. So the biggest thing here is like, if you don't have this, then go and fucking coach people for free. That's your answer. Then a couple more things you need to understand just to make sure that you can really map this out successfully. What is the cost of not taking action to this person? What happens if this person doesn't get the goal? What if they don't get it? Understand vividly what happens. What is the gap? What barriers are there for them? What have they tried in the past that hasn't worked? What pre-existing beliefs do they have? Do they believe they can be helped? Do they believe there's a solution out there for them already? Or do we have to create that belief? Do they have the authority to buy? Do they also have the means to buy? Meaning like, are they of age to fucking buy a coaching service? And also do they have the means, financial means to participate in high ticket coaching? And also why now? Why now? So once we understand these things, then we can map out our offer at a high level, which I'll take you guys through right now. We got the 3 levers of the offer. So I define these as number 1, you got done for you. You have clear systems and processes, and then you have support. Okay. Why is this important? Well, this is important because it's necessary to understand so you can actually map out an offer that isn't like fully fucking dependent on you and you're not driving yourself nuts. Because fitness coaching is people don't buy that. Okay. People buy offers, people buy transformations. More importantly, they buy how we get them to the fucking transformation. So we need a clear offer and clear method of getting people to their transformation or else no one's going to fucking buy. So what does done for you mean? Well, it essentially means you're doing the work for them. Okay. You're doing custom plans. That's your training nutrition. You might be doing grocery orders to their fucking doorstep, right? So what would a grocery list do? What would an Instacart order do? That would decrease the perceived effort that this client has. And also it would probably decrease the time it takes them to achieve it, which would then increase their perception of value and the likelihood that they buy. So pretty simple overall, right? Done for you. This is essentially to reduce the time it takes for them to get the outcome. We do this by giving them custom training plans and nutrition plans tailored to their goals, grocery lists, maybe Instacart orders to their doorstep. That's something that you can really set yourself apart. Essentially, what we're doing here is just making it easier for them. We're reducing that decision fatigue, making it easier for them to hit their goals, and reducing the friction, right? Whatever resistance there is between them and their goal, which makes, in their mind, our offer the right choice because it makes it easier for them to get the outcome. Just basically increasing the convenience, reducing friction, involving fewer decisions. That's what a done for you component is. Now, what is a clear system and process? Well, essentially what a clear system and process is it's reducing the number of times that a client doesn't know what to do. With fulfillment, if you can memorize this, you'll be golden. Memorize this: clarity over complexity. Okay. We need our clients to essentially be like, okay, this is exactly what you have to do. Lay it out, make it impossible for even the laziest fuck to fail. What would it take to get even like a fucking monkey a 6-pack and big muscles? How would we do it? How would we get them the outcome? What are clear systems and processes? Well, it's a step-by-step training, right? Maybe it's a weekly schedule that you build out for them. That would be maybe a little bit done for you as well, but a weekly schedule for their routine. Okay, I know you're busy, this, and this. So what we'll do is we'll go to your, we'll go over your structure, your schedule together with your work and whatnot. We'll create a weekly map for like how much time you should be allocating to certain things. This is what I do for my business clients, right? When they get onboarded, them and I literally spend the first fucking like hour just mapping out what they should be focused on for the first month. Okay, you're going to spend X amount of hours on this, X amount of hours on this. Here are the subtasks between these tasks to get to your outcome. Let's follow up in a week. Let's see how you are. That's kind of what I do. Next, you got checklists, right? So checklists for them to follow so they know exactly what to do at all times. Simple rules. An example of a checklist, by the way, could be like, okay, here's a form checklist. Here's a checklist for getting set up on your bench press. Like depress your scapula, right? Break the bar. Like gentle cues like that, gentle reminders, right? So to leave them with less questions and more clarity. Simple rules to follow. So for nutrition, simple rules is like, hey, let's just increase our veggies this week by 1 cup. Easy, done. That's a clear system and process. A progression model. People like progress. Okay, a lot of fitness coaches complain why their retention is fucking shit, but they don't understand that their fitness clients, unfortunately, they don't care as much about the science as we do. I understand we like the mechanical tension, motor unit recruitment, fucking muscle fibers, boom, bam, bop. Fitness clients, most of them don't give a fuck. Okay, fitness clients want the outcome and they want to get it as quick as possible with like probably as little effort as possible. That's usually what they fucking want. And so we got to make it fun. That means maybe every month having a little challenge for them to where they do like a little cardio challenge so they get a little fucking excited. Whatever. If you can just spice this up, you will beat like 90% of coaches, right? People like to be challenged. If you can do that, if you can have like events, that's fucking sweet. Challenges are great. People just need to see progression. That's the biggest thing, right? Check in rhythm. Usually weekly with a Loom is good. A Loom is just what I'm filming this on now. It's a fucking recording software. Clear client roadmap. So this is kind of for you, but I create a roadmap for myself in terms of like what the client's onboarding process is going to look like. So for example, like step one, they submit the payment. Immediately after payment, what happens? Then we sign contract, then we do this, then we do this, then we do this. And it just creates a lot of clarity with me and the team around like what actions need to be done for a client at what time. So that's kind of what this is. And you can also just give the clients a roadmap so they know exactly what they need to be doing at all times. And the goal is just like predictable execution. So reduce the amount of times that a client's like, oh no, what should I do? Okay. And also reduce dependence on you. Now, then you got support, which is maybe the most important component of fitness coaching, but it's like you got one-on-one coaching, which is maybe calls, texts, whatever. You got group coaching as well. That's something that I think a lot of coaches underestimate is the importance of just like creating a community. You don't need many people to make a community. And what I mean by group coaching element is maybe you have a group call with like 5 of your fucking clients a week. That's how you retain those clients to infinity and beyond because you increase the perception of value. And I've actually split tested this. The people that I work with, especially business coaches, fitness coaches that I work with, the people that just like talk to somebody and make a friend within like the first month, we see like a 2x curve with their fucking results. So now I've actually made it mandatory that people get what's called accountability buddies. Yes, I literally group people up and I go, yo, motherfuckers, here's your goal, here's your goal, hold each other accountable, make sure you guys do it. And then we meet. Because I've realized that like if people want to be successful, they often need just someone to do it with because business is lonely. I get it. Business is fucking lonely. And so to make it easier, you group people up. So this is a huge piece for me that I've realized really helps out in the business and retention. Q&A support, basically like if they have fucking questions, they should have an FAQ somewhere they can go to just see quick tutorials of how to do the exercises, etc., how to weigh out their food, that kind of stuff. Like they should never be left like, oh shit, like I don't know how to fucking do this. Have videos. Doesn't have to be your videos, right? You could link them fucking MyFitnessPal how-to app. Just make it easy for them. Reduce resistance. Reduce the resistance it takes to get the outcome. That's it. And then mindset, lectures. These are like, pre-recorded videos. If I tell a fitness client, yo, I have these pre-recorded videos, you're gonna have to watch 60 hours a week. Nobody wants to watch fucking videos. Like even you with your attention span are probably struggling to watch this, even though it's beneficial to your business. Support, right, with text, accountability, kind of ties in with these, and then encouragement as well. So clients just need overall encouragement. They need support because if they don't, they will drop off and they will quit and they will churn and give you a bad review. Okay. Then we got to stop fucking overpromising in the business. All right. I'm sick of fucking hearing, oh, a 24/7 tech support. You're not going to text your client 24 hours a fucking day. Come on. Be honest with me here. What are we talking about? You are not going to text your fucking client 24/7 all day because you're going to be fucking sleeping. Stop saying that. That is how you get yourself shit clients. The coaches who have shit clients, I always start with the sales call, their first interaction. They're like, oh, JP, sales isn't my issue. I know how to close. I'm like, I know what I'm doing here, pal. I look at the sales call. What did they do? Oh yeah, you know how to fucking close because you over fucking promise something you can't realistically fulfill on. So stop over promising. Okay. Don't fucking make it so that the result requires pitch perfect execution. Realistically, somebody should be able to execute at 80% and get the result. Don't like for me, for example, if I unrealistically said, yeah, bro, we're going to get the 50K month guaranteed, like a lot of these business gurus take, like I would get fucking shit reviews. Yeah, sure. I might make more money in the short term, but long term, your trust, the brand trust, etc., is going to go down. And for me, I want to build something that truly fucking means something. I want to build something with true fucking value behind it. I want to have an impact. So this is not something I do. Matter of fact, if you need a guarantee to sign up with me, I probably don't want to fucking work with you because it just means that you probably don't believe in yourself. And if you're already in that mindset of like, oh, what if I fail before we work together? It's probably not going to fucking work out, pal. Because if you're having those thoughts, then like, fuck, like, what am I supposed to do here? You got to believe in yourself so you actually do the fucking work. Dependence on best case scenarios and then claims that create skepticism. Okay. Those are all shit on what not to do. So don't fucking promise unrealistic results. Don't say you're going to communicate with people 24/7. You'll say, I'll respond within 24 hours. That's probably better. And then respond quickly anyway. But then that way they don't have the expectation of like you fucking doing some bullshit that you're not going to do. It's that easy. The biggest thing that creates client disappointment is like number one, overwhelm. And then number two, unmatched expectations with their reality. So if you get someone's expectations super fucking high, like I'm going to give this kid an ice cream cone and I slap it out of his fucking hand, kid's going to be fucking pissed. He's probably going to kick me because he's fucking mad. So if you do that to your clients, like you're going to get the same fucking result. Then you got like, you'll just win. So this is how you win with the over promising piece. You win by promising specific controllable outcomes, things that you can actually kind of like have some say in, showing how the results happen, making the path obvious and realistic. Assume people are retarded. Assume people are like a fucking monkey. All right. Make it as easy to follow as a monkey can do it. That means when someone gets onboarded, have a video of you going over their app. That way you don't have to do it on a sales call or on the onboarding call. Think about this shit. And then build trust through clarity and then sell certainty. Sell certainty and like their ability to get the outcome kind of thing. Okay. Make sure that your customers actually feel like they can kind of get the result. And that's it for that piece. Okay. So like the 3 levers you want to touch and then how you guys got to stop over promising with your pitch. But let me go into this piece. So what are the offer components? Well, we got the training program. So like this means like your philosophy when it comes to training. Like what is your training philosophy? Are you a CrossFitter? Are you a fucking like bodybuilder? Are you an athlete? Are you a hybrid approach? Like what is your philosophy, right? That's what you want to make clear. What is the programming approach going to be? Is it going to be high volume, low volume, high rocks? What are you going to program? What should the split progression be in frequency? Like what is the volume that you're going to do? Like meaning sets per week for this individual and how many times per week are they going to be training? How does it adapt? What's the customization? What's the progress? So essentially this, right? As coaches, I'll draw a line live here. Watch this. We have what's called the continuum. This is called optimal. That is a huge fucking text box. This is called optimal. Okay. And this side is unoptimal. Okay. Or I'll say like enjoyment. So you have what's optimal and you have enjoyment. All the way optimal on this side is pretty fucking boring. So we want to find a balance, right? We want to be somewhere along the continuum, ideally right smack dab in the middle where we're balancing what they enjoy and we're also making them do exercises that are optimal for their day-to-day life and day-to-day function and support activities, daily living, all that stuff, that fucking those personal training certifications like talking about. So that's kind of the approach that we want to take with our programming, right? We want to be smack dab in the middle. That's what I mean by programming approach. And whatever standards you have, just remember like you need to set clear standards with clients, but sometimes it's okay to throw in some variety here and there for the sake of getting clients in the gym. All right. How does it adapt to clients' needs? For example, let's say I have a client with a fucking knee injury. How are you going to adapt your programming so that they can exercise? Right? You need to think about these things because that's a critical piece of coaching. There are a lot of coaches that don't know how to coach. Don't be one of them, please. Be a fitness coach that actually takes care of their clients and knows how to fucking coach and is passionate about fitness. Because if you aren't, then you're going to fail long-term business. That's all I have to say. Okay. Then how are you going to track progress? Meaning, you need a way to measure the client's fucking results so that by the end of the program, they can walk away with a tangible fucking report of like what they achieved and accomplished. Is it going to be weigh-ins? Is it going to be training progression? Like, how are we tracking this? Think about it. Just think critically for a minute. How are we tracking their client's progress so we know if a client is in the green, yellow, or red? Meaning green, are they good? Yellow, are they like close to churning? Maybe we got to give them a text. Red, are they like ASAP call this motherfucker is about to like file dispute and churn? Okay. Then you got the nutrition protocol. So essentially, like what framework are you going to do? Are you going to use? Are you going to be like a if it fits your macros guy? Are you going to give them macro guidelines? Are you going to do like a habit-based approach where you focus on like, you know, the mental components? Like what are you going to focus on to get people results? I don't give a fuck what it is, but just make sure you can do it and repeat it. Make sure you can model it amongst people. Make sure you can find the pattern with what works for most clients or the average folk, and make sure you're able to repeat that and replicate those results over time. So what kind of nutrition protocol or style are you going to use as a coach? For me as a fitness coach, I gave my fitness clients an example meal plan. I essentially had like 20 meals that were saved in the app. I would customize those meals to the client's like macros based upon a macro calculator that I used. And I would just like customize the ingredients, everything like that for said client. That's what I would do. And I would say, hey, I don't want you to follow this step by fucking step. Matter of fact, I'd encourage you to be creative and like go out and fucking try foods, et cetera, and learn how to do this yourself. But here's an example of how you can structure a day of eating because most people don't know how to fucking eat. Let's just be honest here. Supporting resources. Guides. Claude can cook this up for you. Just talk to it and it'll make it look pretty. Recipes. Pretty simple there. Like Claude can do that too. It's not that hard. Shopping lists. Again, Claude can do this as well. Give it access to like Instacart's database. It's not that hard. Put it, a little effort goes a long way. It's not fucking hard to do. Then you have coaching and accountability, okay, which is ties into that support piece, which ties into this support piece here, which is just like, okay, is it the calls? Are you going to do check-ins? Are you going to do group calls, community, message support? We kind of talked about this before, but like, what are you going to do to actually hold people accountable, make them get results? And how are you going to like structure your program to prevent client drop off? So that's very, very important on that part. And then we have the brainstorming piece. Essentially, what can you do for them, right? So what can you do for them? This is how you're going to figure out this piece, by the way. So like how to figure out the 3 levers and what you should include is just like pay attention here and be like, okay, what can I do for people? What tasks can I eliminate from this person's life to make their life easier and make it easier for them to get an outcome? What decisions can I simplify for these people and just make for them? How do I reduce decision fatigue and just make the fucking decision? What work can I take off their plate? Sometimes it's really simple fucking shit. Sometimes it's really simple shit. The nutrition and training program is always part of this. But this is just to help you ideate in terms of done for you. Now, in terms of systems and processes, this is just like how can you give clarity? So like clear next steps, simple expectations, define milestones, visible process. How can you give clarity to clients? And then how do you remove the fear and doubt? This is that support piece, right? So in the support piece, the questions that you're asking yourself are like, how do I remove fear and doubt? How do I reduce the level of uncertainty when it comes to using my service? How do I increase the level of support or the support that they feel? Remember, people have different ways of receiving things. So let's say you don't feel loved by your husband, spouse, wife, whatever. Okay. Even though your husband, spouse loves you, they're giving you love, but they're not giving it to you in the way that you want to receive it. Okay. So you have to consider the person's feelings. I can't give them support in the way that I would want it. I have to find out what way they want support and give them that support. That's what I mean by this. How do you remove fear and doubt when it comes to using your product? For example, I've actually reduced the number of shit I give clients in my offer. Yes, most people would think, oh, add more. I've reduced it because I realized out of an effort to teach these guys a lot and out of passion and getting too fucking nerdy about it, that they actually didn't do anything at all because they get overwhelmed. So for me, I was like, okay, hold on. Let me just remove some of these fucking things and let me like strip it down to bare bones. And then that way they have a clear roadmap of getting the outcome. And that really increased client results. Pretty much like a third, it increased it, like 33% or something, right? So it was pretty successful. So we just want to remove that fear and doubt. By giving a client a lot of fucking things, a lot of action items, you overwhelm them. Meaning, like in their first week, it should probably be pretty chill. Here's your guidelines. Have 2 cups of vegetables with every meal. Yay, woo! Have 6 palm-sized portions of protein. Woo, yay! That kind of stuff, right? Making it easy. And then from here, this is just about presenting it, and also pricing it. So I'll cover pricing first, and then I'll go down to the presentation and naming. Pricing, really, we're pricing on value. By value, I don't mean the time. Okay, so a lot of trainers, the flaw that they make, the critical flaw is that they think like, oh my God, I can't charge this high because no. Stop it. You're charging based on the time it takes you. That's like a retarded move. If I have a project and I have this fucking sexy painting, I don't care how long it takes the person to fucking do it. I care that the painting is something I genuinely like and find sentimental value in. It's like a house. I don't care how long it took to fucking build the house. I care how sturdy the house is and that when it rains, it's not going to blow away like the big bad fucking wolf blew on it. Okay? So we price based on value. What do they get? Tangibly, what fucking happens when they lose that weight, when they fucking get the transformation, when they're on the beach with the 6-pack, they don't have the love handles anymore, when they're the father that their kids actually respect because they've lost weight and they have more respect for themselves and they're finally, their wife finds them fucking attracted to them. Think that way. You have the capacity as a fitness coach to change somebody's fucking life. Think that way. Money follows excellence. It's not greedy to charge for a product or service. That was a limiting belief that I had because I didn't come from money. I did not come from a lot of money. And so I always had this belief and I felt selfish for charging a lot. When I was like, hold on, wait a second. If I lowered my prices, I would be able to provide a shitty fucking service because I would have more clients. I'd be able to give less one-on-one attention and people would get worse outcomes. So I have to charge a lot. And also, this is a luxury service. Fitness coaching, say it how you want it. It's a luxury service. You do not need it. It's not like you're price gouging for fucking pills that are supposed to fight cancer, right? Or like antibiotics. You're charging for somebody's time. And so like the idea here is there really is no cap to what you can charge as an online fitness coach. It's just what the market is willing to pay you for your services and that transformation. So that's kind of the gist there, right? So you're basically charging based upon the health, the confidence, the energy that they have, the quality of life, the fucking longevity, right? What is the transformations beyond just the deliverables, beyond just what the training plan, the nutrition plan, beyond just that? What are they actually getting from you? Think that way. Think that way when it comes to your product or service, right? Think about the outcome that this individual is going to get and think about how fucking good they're going to feel when they get that outcome. You will be able to charge a lot more if you just consider that. And also, for those of you watching this, you say, oh, that's greedy. I don't want to do that. Okay, no, fine, cool. I used to charge $60 a month for fitness coaching. I'll tell you this. The clients I took on did not fill out check-ins. They did not do the fucking reports. They did not do anything. And they were very, very lazy because at $60 a month, people can afford to just fuck around and find out. When you're charging a fucking band a month, motherfuckers are in. They're like, oh, okay, I'm in, right? And you have the capacity to change somebody's life. That's simple. So price based on not your competition, not what you think you're fucking good at, not what you think you're worth, but based on the transformation that you can get clients. And then if you try, worst case scenario, you overcharge, nobody buys it, and you lower your fucking price. What do you fucking do? You have if you have no clients, it doesn't matter. Typically, since I know you guys are going to want me to give you a fucking answer, a fitness coaching program, let's just do for 3 months, is going to be anywhere from $1,500 to $3,000 on the lower end of the spectrum. If you're newer, I would say $900. Oh my God, so much money. Yeah, no, but it works. So here's your fucking model. You can use this. Next, you have hold on. We have knowing your numbers. Okay. So essentially what we want to do is we want to know our numbers. And this is when it comes down to being a real business owner and not just a social media influencer. So we got to do math. Oh my God, I fucking hate math, right? So here's what we're going to do. How long does it take me to fulfill on the offer? Meaning, if I have a 3-month offer at $1,500, and let's say I spend an hour with each client a week on average, that means I'm getting paid $125 per hour of my time. This is important to know because you want to make sure that you're setting boundaries with clients and you're not spending too much time, because as you scale, and if this starts to fucking decrease, that's a problem, because now it means the ratio of time you're spending on fulfillment is taking away from other key tasks in the business. For example, sales, marketing, making videos, all of that stuff. As a business owner, you are not just a fitness coach. You are in charge of a couple departments. Fulfillment, client delivery, getting your clients excellent results, texting, VS on calls, VS making videos for the program, whatever. 2, marketing, advertising, essentially getting people more aware of your service and trusting you more. 3, sales, actively cold calling, warm calling, doing fucking door to door, whatever you have to do to get clients, cold DMing, warm DMing, whatever. And then you have the finances department, making sure that your profit and loss reports are good, whatever. Okay. So that's fulfillment cost. And then essentially you want to know your time spent delivering, and then you just want to know your profit margins. Okay. Because a lot of people chase revenue. They try to fucking double ad spend, and then they don't make any money from it, and then they're kind of cooked. So you can run into a pickle if you're not keeping track of your finances. Oh, well, I don't want to keep track of my finances. Okay, then don't fitness coach. Then just be mediocre. Fine. I don't care. You do what you want to fucking do. But if you want to be a business owner, you have to fucking take it seriously. This isn't a hobby. The reason why your business is not growing is because you're treating it like a fucking hobby. If you want to grow your business, then you got to know these things. That's simple. Okay. And then remember as well, sales takes fucking time. Marketing takes time. Admin takes time. Content takes time. Price for sustainability. If you charge $30 a month, which by the way, I've heard people do, you are not going to have a sustainable business model. How the absolute fuck are you supposed to deliver on that? That is the most ridiculous pricing model I think I have ever heard in my life. That is nuts. Never do that. Okay? Price for sustainability, not cheapness. As long as you're good and can get clients result. That's it. All right. Then how to present it. Well, let's go into a couple different things. So with presentations, I always go off pillars when you're presenting your program. So for example, you want to make sure you're presenting it in terms of here's the clear systems and processes. What are the 3 pillars that the client's struggling with most? And just pitch those pillars. For example, accountability, training, nutrition. That's the second pillar, which is training, nutrition. And then third is the group community component. Fine, cool, done. Maybe that's my fucking offer. Maybe that's my 3 pillars that I pitch. Then from there, we just want to name it. So you'll see there's different ways of naming the methods. There's client identity method. the anti-blank method. So for example, the anti-guru method to scaling your fitness business, the acronym method. A lot of people do the acronym. Like I can make a send an acronym for something like, at scale, whatever. Counterintuitive method. So essentially like a counterintuitive way to get the client's results. So like what if I said lose weight eating more method, the never hungry method. I don't know, some shit like that. And then also phasing system. So like the phase this in the system. What is the actual phasing? So some people have like phase 1, phase 2, phase 3, phase 4, that kind of thing. So that can also be a system as well in which you name your program. But yeah, that's kind of just busy dad method. That's kind of yeah. So you get the fucking point. You've seen these all over the place. Come up with your own. You can copy and paste this in a fucking Claude for all I care and do that. Presentation goals. What are we doing here? Well, out of the way. We want to make the offer easy as shit to understand. We want to make the method memorable. We want to make the process feel unique, and we want to make the value feel like it's immediately clear. That's what that is the goal with a presentation. How do we make the method memorable? Right? How do we make the process feel unique in your own? Often by just having a cool name. How do we make the value clear to somebody, and how do we make it easy to understand? And then from there, logical flow for the video. Start with 3 levers. Over-promising fails because people do not get results because you're promising outcomes that people can't fucking realistically achieve or get. And that just increases frustration, increases burnout, and word gets around. Okay, perfect example. A lot of business coaches have changed their offers. What the fuck are you talking about changing your offer? Yeah, what? You're quitting business coaching? Oh, I wonder why. It's because you fucking suck at it. Oh, didn't say anything. Use brainstorming questions to shape that offer, like this one over here. And then from there, just break down the components and then justify your pricing. Figure out how you're going to justify that to your clients or to potential prospects. Because you have to essentially like pre-handle objections, right? Oh, it's too expensive. Okay, do the math. What does the average American spend on fucking food in a month? Think about that. That's how you can handle that objection, right? Make a video about that. So yeah, that's essentially how you can map out your high ticket fitness coaching offer. And then if you follow these steps, you will be able to charge anywhere from like $1,500 to $3,000 for 3 months, or like whatever amount for 6. Yeah, that's essentially the offer. You just want to remember the outcome and then map out exactly how this person's going to get the outcome. So what is the outcome that we're trying to get people to achieve? Is it weight loss? Is it recomp? Is it muscle building? You might have more avatars than one. Okay. You might have more avatars than one. A lot of people say, oh, identify your client avatar. Like you're not going to have more avatars than one fucking person. In your business, there's probably going to be more avatars than one. You're going to have weight loss clients. You're going to have skinny fat clients. You're going to have X clients. So how do you make sure that each type of client is successful within your fitness coaching program? That's how you got to think. What systems does like a fat person need that a skinny person doesn't? Map that out. Okay. And then just kind of identify the clients that you want to work with, but then over time that would be refined. So as you take on more clients, you will refine the client that you want to work with. For right now, if you don't have any clients and you're watching this, just fucking pick somebody. If you do have a lot of clients and you're watching this, just kind of like categorize the top 20% of your clients in terms of results and outcomes, and then figure out what the pattern is behind that so that you can better refine your marketing and define those people. But that segues into my next session, which is actually the content system. Now that we've mapped out our offer at a high level, how do we make content as an online fitness coach, right? There's so many coaches out there. There's a lot of like fucking business gurus telling you to post content this way and then not post content the other way. I want a spoiler alert. That's all just marketing. Okay. It's all just marketing. People like extremes. So the guys that say, oh, only do ads. That's their stance. That's their brand. Then the guys that go, oh, do organic. That's their brand. The reality is it's somewhere in the middle. Okay. Good content, great content, whatever you want to call it. It's somewhere in the middle of these extreme beliefs, etc. But middle doesn't get views. And that's why people do it that way. And that's why you feel so confused. So let's explain it now. So this is essentially the organic Instagram funnel. When people say funnel, if you've ever been confused, they just mean the funneling of attention. They mean a funneling of attention. So like the person enters from a broad perspective, they get middle, and then they go like toward the bottom and convert. A funnel gets narrower, right? So it's the narrowing of attention towards your offer. That's essentially how you want to think of it. So like at the top, you get a lot of people coming in, and then it gets a little bit thinner once you provide more value, nurture. And then at the bottom, it's like, oh, fuck, like these are my homies. Like, these are guys that I want to work with, right? So let's talk about it. We got traffic. Traffic then goes to reels. Reels are visibility. They're essentially the billboard of your brand. Now, everyone always talks about landing pages, this, that, and the other. I'll keep it a buck. A landing page, which is really just like a website, you have like a video there talking about your offer. That really is not that important for like an organic brand. I just like, dude, I don't fucking, I didn't have a landing page and I was doing 80,000 a month as an online fitness coach. Like it's not that fucking deep, right? The Instagram is your landing page. Start viewing it that way. So the reels are just visibility. Essentially, you need to show up daily and consistently. If you do not do this, you are cooked. It's very simple. The reality is the boring answer is often the correct answer, but it's just the answer you won't accept because you'd like to believe that there's like a magical fucking outcome on there. And that's why you buy like 18 programs and none of them work for you because you've constantly been oversold and underdelivered. And now you're hopeless and burnt out of fitness coaching. Kind of logical crash out from JP there. But essentially, we want to be doing 2 to 3 per day in consistency and high volume posting. Then we just track the data. Which format gets the highest views? And specifically, we want to look at outliers, right? We want to base our content on outliers. So what is the multiplier, the score, like a 1.5x, 2x, whatever, that this one got? And more importantly, what audience is it attracting? Is it attracting an audience that we can actually work with? Or are we just getting views for the sake of getting views? I want to be very clear there. Oh, I don't know how to get views. You can get views, dude. Say an offensive word. Say an offensive word. Like retard or faggot. Oh, I said it. Oh, you said it. You can get views. All right. It's just people are fucking like afraid to say things because they're afraid to be fucking judged. Get rid of that. Get fucking rid of it. If you're constantly afraid of being judged, you will never grow. If you want to be on the outliers, if you want to be on the outliers of society, which means like extreme wealth, extreme success, whatever, and you want to have like stability, and I would say even stability is an outlier because the average fucking American is a dumbass. The average citizen today in the US is just a lazy fuck who scrolls online on social media and eats McDonald's. And so if you want to beat that, you have to be willing to do things that people are probably going to judge you for. And that's because average is mediocre. You don't want to be average. So who the fuck cares what people think about you? Because the average person's opinion isn't worth fucking shit. So you want to track outliers and do a multiplier score of like, okay, what is the multiplier that this post got? And should I double down? And just track which format gets the most views, and not just views, but like views from the right audience. So when you're getting views, it's important to consider like, okay, did this video bring in qualified people that actually would buy my offer, or is it not? Because if it's not, then it doesn't fucking matter. Or just adapt the format to speak to those people. So I have a client and he talks about like peptides, right? All of his videos talk about Retta. And I was like, bro, you realize that you're fucking complaining about the quality of clients you're bringing in, but you keep talking about shortcuts and you're wondering why people only want to hop on a call with you to talk about their peptide stack. It's your fucking fault. Stop bitching. And so essentially what we did is I told him, no, you don't have to stop talking about peptides, but you have to change the lens through which you communicate your point. Here's what I mean. You can Trojan horse it and still talk about Retta, but use that as like a vehicle to fucking get someone's attention. And then you say, oh, it's actually the training nutrition, like Retta is not going to do it all, that kind of thing. So you can map it back to what you're actually selling, which is fucking golden. So content should just map back to what you're selling. If you can do that, you will crush it. So essentially at the start, the same way with like how we funnel attention with our videos as well. We start the video with something that's high TAM, meaning total addressable market, meaning a lot of people will watch it and relate to it. And then we funnel that in like this. It looks something like this, right? So I'll just copy and paste it. This is what it'll look like a funnel. So we just funnel it in and it meets. So the end is a little bit specific and it usually relates back to what you are selling. If it doesn't, there might not be a point in posting that reel. That's kind of what I think, unless it's like a personality reel, etc., which I will get into later on in this presentation. Examples, right? Quick wins, how to lose fat without giving up pizza, right? Common myths, emotional pain points, visual proof, just client transformations, etc. That's the goal with it. Overall, the goal with content is very simple. Capture the attention, right? Earn some follows and start that awareness clock. A video should really just do this. It's 3 things. It's that simple. Hook, retain the fucking person, and then give them a payoff for watching. Think about it. If we hook their attention, if we can retain that attention, and we can give them a payoff for watching, they'll continue coming back for more. If any of these are missing, the video fails. If I don't hook them, they scroll. If I hook them but don't retain them, they scroll. If I hook them, retain them, but don't give them a payoff, they might not scroll, but in future posts, they will associate me with not giving them a fucking payoff, so they will scroll. That's essentially what a video needs to do. It's very simple. Don't overcomplicate this shit. I hate when people talk about like super hooks and this, that. Like, shut up. It's not that deep. All right. Relax. Stories. Okay. What are stories? So essentially they're lower in volume, right? Lower volume in reach, but they're high trust and depth because the people that view your stories are going to be like more followers, right? So you're able to build trust a little bit better with people on the stories. And so it gets a little bit deeper down that funnel. You're not trying to go viral. You're trying to show connection. You're trying to show that you're a fucking human being, not just like the average guru coach on social media. So you want to show that you're a real human. You want to show that you walk the walk. You want to show your social proof, your struggles, how you're overcoming the struggles that you're facing right now. Hint, if you talk about a struggle that you're facing and maybe it's too deep, people will probably not trust you anymore as an authority and they will just see you as a crybaby. So there's a balance to it. You got to find that balance for you. I can't define it because I don't know enough about your content, but that's all I'll say. You got to have a barrier there. And really, we're just presenting and we're being consistent. That's it. Because we want to show that we're getting results from others. We want to show our service. We want to show client wins, essentially making the clients the hero of the story, and then just post stories across these topics, right? Lifestyle, coaching, proof, education, engagement, whatever. Just kind of show your lifestyle, just highlight your coaching, highlight client wins, not in a way of like, oh, hey, my clients are the best. They get the best results, because that's cocky. Nobody like that. But you can make a video on your story like this. Roll the fucking tapes. Ready? Cue it. You know, I'm so proud of my client, Sarah. When she first started with me, like she was really struggling with binging and it was just really difficult. And now she's down like 30 pounds. It's only been 3 months. And it's just the most fucking satisfying part of my job as a fitness coach is just watching these people every single day crush it. And it really gets me waking up every single morning. I can't wait to keep growing with you guys. And I'm just so grateful. That is what you want to post. Like that's fucking money, but actually mean it. Actually mean it. Actually be a genuine human being and mean it. All right. I promise. That will help you a lot because it builds a lot of trust. Then in the DMs, we sell. People always talk about content converting. Content doesn't really convert. Sometimes I say it does because like you guys want to hear that. And then like once I get your guys' attention by saying content that converts, then I can fucking tell you that content's role is like hook, retain, reward, right? Hook, retain, payoff. And then like it's really the DMs and conversations that are going to convert. And so DMs are just sales. You need to be active in DMs every single day. The reframe that I'll give you guys to use for this that really helped me is like, if people are always like, oh, they're going to find me desperate. So what? What do you care about another fucking person thinks of you? Are you that feeble? Right? So who the fuck cares? When I was trying to get online training clients, or I mean, in-person training clients at a local gym, I went door to door. I went door to door and I was giving out free training sessions, 3 to be like precise. Nobody else was doing that. I was the pattern interrupt and I just had balls. Right? I dropped my ego. I was like, you know what? I'm not, everyone always thinks like, oh, I shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to do that. It's not a matter of shoulds. It's a matter of, are you willing to do whatever it takes to get to your goal? If not, admit it, lower your standards, lower your goal, and settle. Because I'd rather live like at least having you acknowledge like, oh shit, maybe I'm not willing to work as hard as I am. Okay, cool. Just lower your goal then. Why suffer? If you're not willing to work that hard, then just fucking lower your goal because you're never going to hit it. And then you're going to be fucking disappointed. But if you have a big goal, do the fucking DMs. Work hard. It's not that difficult. You're essentially helping people. You want to lead with value first, okay? With DMs. And then there's 2 types of leads. There's warm inbound and outbound, right? So you have warm inbound, warm outbound, number 1. And then you also have, well, I would say cold leads. So you have these 2. I always say like DM warm people. It's probably not a good idea to just DM people cold. And what I mean by warm is like, warm are just, they have a higher likelihood of purchasing. That's pretty much it. They have a greater intent and they've expressed that and they've like communicated with you in the past or something and they've seen you online. And so that makes them warmer. Cold leads are people that you don't know and they don't know you. And that's a little like annoying because they're just like really unqualified and they probably won't even fucking respond 99% of the time, which is why I say warm. And then if you don't have enough leads, well, then that's an issue of like marketing and just making better reels and making more reels. So then you want to just start the first combo after they engage, a like, a story like, a fucking reply, a comment, whatever. This is all a sign of the lead being a lead. And then them reaching out to you first is like an inbound, right? So outbound, just like starting a conversation after they follow, etc. And then just use the qualification framework. First, before you DM somebody, look at their page. Do they have high school in their bio? If yes, no DM. Client likely broke, right? And then you want to figure out what's their goal, what's stopping them, what have they tried before? And I wouldn't even say, are they ready for coaching if you don't have a lot of leads? Basically, like, If you have less leads, you want to qualify less, meaning like financially qualify and goal qualify less. You just want to essentially get a goal and a pain point, and then from there you'll crush it in DMs. Like that's kind of the goal there. But I'm going to talk more about sales later on in this video, so I'm going to kind of rush through that. But that's essentially an intro to how the organic Instagram funnel works. But I do want to talk about how you can actually make content. Now, I know we talked about like you got to hook them in, right? You got to get a person's attention, hook them. Then you got to retain them, and you got to give them a payoff, or else your content will fail. And so if you understand this, now we just got to break it down. How do we actually make content now that we understand this? Well, before I even dive in here, so we don't fucking overthink, content is a game of do more, reflect, adapt, act more. Everyone always goes, JP, what do I post? What do you post? God, man, it's like the fucking fitness client that's 300 fucking pounds asking me what they should do for cardio when they haven't even hit the fucking treadmill or walked. Like, bro, just walk, just move, eat less. Fitness coaches will tell that shit to clients, but then they do it to themselves with content. It's the same shit. Do more, reflect, adapt, act more. I will go over how to reflect. I will go over how to adapt, and I will go over how to act specifically. But the first step is you got to fucking do it. Oh, but I don't know. Good. Sometimes you have to get comfortable acting in the uncertainty. You have to be comfortable acting with uncertainty because business is uncertainty. And if you want certainty, then business and entrepreneurship is not for you. I'm sorry, it's not. Business is uncertainty. The level of risk is going to be associated with your level of fucking reward. So take big risks. You don't always need to know exactly what the outcome is before you fucking commit to something. Sometimes you'll figure it out. You'll figure it out as you go. So just start. And then from there, you can reflect on what works and then adapt it based on what works and keep on repeating and then that kind of thing, right? But let's talk about it. How do we actually hook them, retain them, and give them a fucking payoff? Well, we have the hook section. Different type of hooks. Shocker, surprise hook. I gained 20 pounds on purpose. Here's why, right? I'm shocking them. Oh my God, he's gained 20 pounds. Woo, right? So it's controversial, like emotionally charged. I can even have like a fucking call out hook, right? But that's like a surprising thing. So it's designed to make people stop scrolling. An example is like Mr. Beast blowing up a fucking Lamborghini and smashing it with a train. That's like pretty shocking and surprising. Then you have curiosity gap. You're withholding the full answer or outcome. By the way, a tip for hooks for those of you watching is do not focus on the hook when you're filming your reel. If you try to start with the hook, you will not be able to, and I repeat, you will not be able to make the fucking video because you'll be so focused on the hook that you won't even be able to think about what you want to say. The thing is, you have to trust that the right words are going to come out of your mouth and then speak. And then in the editing, you can focus on the hook and maybe like move something from the fucking middle to the beginning or that kind of shit. But it's not worth looking at the hook at the start because you're not going to be able to do it. And you're going to be too fucking focused on it and you're going to overthink and you're not going to post. Curiosity gap. Withholding the full answer, essentially making them feel like, oh my God, I got to keep watching to satisfy the curiosity. Relatable pain problem, right? Calling out a shared problem or frustration that your audience frequently experiences. For example, if I'm making a video about being skinny, maybe I make a video and it's like about a fucking girl putting her like fingers around your wrist because like a skinny dude. Oh, that's a common pain point. Oh my God, your wrist is so small. Oh, okay, I'll just kill myself then. Cool. Fuck it. I'll just jump off the Golden Gate. Cool. So it's essentially like a relatable pain and problem hook. Gets people engaged because it's like speaking to an emotional frustration. Bold claim. This is the fastest way to lose belly fat. I think this is shit. So I think what I'll say is shit. JP, why is it shit? Because everyone is claiming the fastest way online. Sure, if you're Jeff Nippard or fucking Greg Doucette or any of these big like Mike Israetel guys, yeah, sure, you can make bold claims like this. But like, if you're not one of those fucking dudes, nobody gives a fuck about your opinion. And so it's very difficult then to make bold claims because people are just annoyed at hearing everyone say they have the best method when they know damn well they're bullshitting. And so I would try to avoid doing this if you don't have a lot of authority already because it's just kind of like pointless. Call out hook, directly addressing the ideal viewer. If you're a fitness coach, stop fucking doing this, right? If you're a lady over 40, firefighters, right? I had a client, Robbie, that I told you about earlier. He always said firefighters in his hook. So calling out the ICP, story driven, right? You start with your story and then a question hook. What if I told you that carbs don't make you fat? Oh, wow. Woo, what about it? Okay, pretty simple. So that's overall the hook framework that I use. Essentially, what we want to do, and Hormozi explains this quite well, is there's a few things that make a hook interesting. I'll pull them up here. All right. So good hooks are made by either, has it happened recently? Meaning, if obviously I talk about some controversy that's going on right now, today, you're going to fucking watch it. For example, the fucking Epstein shit. Oh boy, cancel me. I don't care. The Epstein shit. If I talked about that while it was fucking popping at its peak, oh my God, the video will go viral because it's just happening recently. Everyone's interested in it. There. Relevancy. Is it actually relevant to your prospects? Is it relevant to the customers that would buy your shit? Think about it. People, the fat dude, the fat chud who's scrolling reels, is it only watching reels for calorie tracking tips, for the 3 tips to lose weight? Nobody's watching reels for that, right? People are watching reels for number one, like entertainment, because they're probably on the fucking toilet. And they're also looking to see shit about relationships, general like training application stuff. Like maybe your fucking ICP likes cars. And so essentially things that are relevant to your prospects don't just have to be relevant to their problems. They can be relevant to them as a person and their interests, right? And having similar interests to your ICP really helps because it builds trust. If somebody likes cars and I show my car, it's like, oh, yay, that's a connecting point. Maybe I show the quality of person I am by tipping a waitress $1,000. People like that. People like seeing a good person. And so that increases the likelihood that somebody wants to work with me because they just like the quality of person they am. Right? Celebrity. I guarantee you if you make a video about like a celebrity that's also trending, it's probably going to go viral. And then proximity, meaning like, okay, there's a reason why we don't care that much in the United States about starving kids in Africa. There, I fucking said it. It's because it's not close to you. Don't look at me like I'm the evil one when you're watching a fucking movie and the fucking ad pops up and you see the picture of the kid with the fucking shit and you're eating your bag of Cheetos. I know you're not donating and scanning that QR code. So like, it's the same shit. Proximity matters. Conflict, opposing ideas or people or controversy. Unusual. Is it like weird? Is it bizarre? Is it unique? Like if I jumped out of a helicopter naked with a gallon of milk, you'd probably watch it. And is it ongoing? Does it build upon shit that's already been talked about in the past? If it does, people will probably watch it. Now, as long as you have 2 of these, your video is more likely to kind of pop. And so that's kind of what I talk about with clients. Like if we have 2 of these, the videos are more likely to do well. Alex Hormozi talks about this in one of his books. I think it's like a $100 million leads or something, or something about, one of those fucking books. But he talks about this and it was based on a study that he kind of presented. So I just kind of ripped that from there to give it to you guys because I think this really helps with ideating hooks. Now, after the hook, you got to think about it like this. People need a reason to watch, right? So a lot of people are boasting that they have the best way to fucking do it, but nobody has proof to back it up. And that's why social proof is such a massive piece of the puzzle. I'll show you. One of my clients earlier, right, that we were talking about, which was Spencer. A lot of his videos just show his transformation. That's enough fucking proof there. Sometimes the proof is that fucking good that like your videos will pop just because your transformation is insane. Same thing with Reagan. Reagan's transformation is fucking ridiculous. And so we utilized that and we found out like, okay, her advantage is she's got a really, really strong physique and a really, really strong transformation. So let's just fucking leverage that in all the reels because it's a strong point for her. And that's kind of what we do. And part of my job as a business coach and mentor is finding out what people's strengths are and then catering to those with their marketing. Okay. That's a massive piece. But essentially with like social proof, we can use client transformation, our own transformation, credentials or certs, screenshots, testimonials, results. Essentially, like we got to think about it like this: data, pictures, and stories. Also like hypothetical fucking examples. This is all like evidence. Okay. So people need like evidence in order to fucking watch it. Simply just showing a weight graph can often help with your retention because think about it, if I hook somebody in, I got to give them a reason to stay watching because if they don't believe me, they're going to scroll. And so within that first 5 to 15 seconds, they need to have something of like proof there just to see it. And then from there, within the 15 to 45 seconds, we give them some game. We give them some elite ball knowledge. Now, what I like to do is give them one thing to do, many reasons to do it. Because here's the thing with content that a lot of people don't understand. Content is supposed to get attention and then build trust, right? In order to build trust, we need to get a person to actually take action because the fat dude has 3,000 fucking meal recipes saved that he's never going to use. And so we don't want to blend in this guy's saved folder like everyone else, like every other fucking fitness coach. No, we need to be a fitness coach that's actually worth interacting with, that's actually worth buying from. And the way we do that is by getting people to act. Okay. If I can get somebody to act, let's say they're having binge urges, they watch my video and they use it. They use the same mechanism that I taught them that night instantaneously, oh my God, they're a warmer lead because they just tried out a piece of advice that I gave them. I gave them a piece of advice. I gave them reasons to do it. So they acted and now they've seen result from it. So now they're more warm. And so that way, when I enter the DMs, they're more likely to convert and entertain talking to me because they've gotten a result from me. And so getting people to act is really the thing that we want to do. And there's a couple ways we do that. We start strong. Hey guys, we don't do any fucking like long ass bullshit intros. Just like dive into it. Okay. You don't need to fucking give people a whole monologue. And then essentially just use some kind of structured format. Really like there's plenty of reels that do well, do this, not that, right? Leveraging the fear of doing it wrong plus visual clarity. When in doubt, you can always add visuals, green screens, etc. Green screens fucking bang. I'll go into a couple formats that you can do today. But essentially like formats that are popping right now at the time of filming. I know tier lists are popping right now, like ranking things. And then also rating things on a scale of 1 to 10. Those are like one-offs, so you never really know how long they're going to be around for. But green screens are fucking here to stay. Talking heads, which is like where you just like take the fucking phone and hold it and speak to it. And then like there's other ones here. Client case studies. Okay, my client fixed X by doing X, Y, and Z. Here's the problem, right? Calling out the pain point, delivering one strong solution, and giving people reasons to do it, which means telling a story, giving evidence of it working for somebody else, etc. And then, these are formats as well. So pretty simple formats that you can utilize in your content. And then also realizing that visuals help drive retention. So it's the reason why in movies, every 6 seconds, you'll notice there's a different shot. Every 6 seconds, you'll notice there's a different shot. The reason is because your dumbass can't fucking pay attention to the screen if there's not that. And so by changing the shot, it gives you enough visual stimuli to keep watching and keep you engaged. And so just by having visuals, people are more likely to watch. And so whenever you can hold something visually, maybe it's like, I'm talking about calorie comparisons. How can I make that more visual? Maybe I show a fucking food scale and me literally doing it. Talking heads don't work for everybody. If you're upset because talking heads don't work for you, okay, maybe they're not your format. Try different shit. It's not that hard. Try different fucking formats. Have a food scale, set up the camera, wear an apron with your face on it with shirtless, and do some dumb shit in your kitchen, cook up a fucking recipe, and boom. There you go. That's how you be entertaining. So you must entertain. Content needs to be entertaining. You got to be likable as a human being. So just like add visuals, change things, graphics, captions are huge, etc. And then speaking to one person. What I mean by this, and this stumps a lot of people. I don't want to stump you. Meaning you're not speaking to an audience that's playing this on a fucking projector for everyone to watch. You're usually, your audience is usually going to be watching on the toilet in between shifts. And so like you want to use probably the word you or maybe I, like for discovery content, which we'll talk about, but like speaking to that person, right? And then just creating relatability. I used to do this wrong too. Here's what helped. Be high energy and confident, right? You're the fucking coach. So you shouldn't be like, hey guys, today I'm only talking about this. And basically, no, like, come on. You see me, I have a good energy when I'm filming this fucking shit. I'm locked in. I'm amped for you guys. So maybe you got to play some music before filming. Maybe you got to get in a good state. Maybe you got to go for a run. Figure out when you perform optimally, double down in those times. Okay. And then just apply the engagement framework, right? Is there curiosity? Is there stakes? Meaning like, oh, what happens if I don't do this? Videos need stakes. So every single video needs some element of stakes because like stakes just mean, okay, if I don't watch this, what's kind of like the con? People always do that in their brain. They're always thinking about like, okay, what's the reward of me like skipping the reel versus watching the reel? And so if you think about a Mr. Beast reel, like he's always blowing up fucking Lamborghinis, that's the stakes. Wherever you can add stakes, your video will often do better because people are often like on the verge of suspense. A good video idea that I've wanted to film that I haven't is like me standing outside of McDonald's with a fucking like poster saying, yo, here's my application for fitness coaching, and just trying to like get people to apply to it. That video would pop because it's high stakes. It's like, oh God, what's going to happen? Is McDonald's going to kick them off the property? Yada, yada, yada. So be creative. Okay. And then the call to action is just clear and direct. You're action oriented, getting a person to take action. Remember, that's the purpose of the reels, and it's value driven. So sometimes a call to action can be follow for more, right? Hey, if you know some fuck ass friend that's always eating Takis on the couch watching Netflix, like just, send this reel to him so he gets off his ass. Done. Funny. It follows the same tone. It's not corny like everyone else's. I stand out. You can also do it based upon the action you want the viewer to take for the gym. And so that's why next time you're in the gym, try X, Y, and Z. Okay. So I'm giving them a clear action, and that way I'm ending it off on a clear note. And so it's like, oh, okay. Comes full circle, right? I give them that step so that they can implement it. Pretty simple. Okay. Essentially, do more, reflect, adapt, act, and then fucking act more. Reflect on why shit did well. Adapt your videos to your best performing ones, as long as they're bringing in the right prospects, and then act, and then fucking act more, and then you can continue reflecting. But essentially, like, this is the content framework. And then remember, with content, we essentially just want to get attention, build trust. And so in order to do that most effectively, we want to make sure that we're getting people to act, right? Because if we get people to act and they see an instantaneous shift in outcome, they're more likely to they're more likely to fucking buy from us in the future. And so that's such a massive piece that I think a lot of people forget, is they make content that are like, oh, here's the 3 tips, here's the 5 tips to lose weight, but that's not getting fucking clients, because you sound the same as everyone else online and you're not actually getting a person to take action. Okay. So it's pretty simple. And also, one more thing is, like, we want to get people to act. And in addition to getting people to act, well, then, like, how do we do it? Right? Like, I know I explained reasons, but what are the exact reasons? So the way I like to think about it is this, which is like, you have reasons to act, which include hypotheticals, data, and stories. Hypotheticals, meaning like if you just drew a parallel or made a stupid analogy, people be like, oh, fuck, yeah, that is kind of retarded. Why am I deciding like this? Because if you can kind of point out the flaw in someone's logical or like objection, you can point out the flaw in it. You can essentially like handle that objection or thought and then get them like change their belief through your content, which is pretty sweet. So that's one way you can get a person to act. Another one is data. Just by showing like, hey, if I showed you guys, hey, I tripled my fucking like engagement by doing this thing and I have a graph to prove it, you're more likely to trust me. And then stories as well, like me just telling client stories of my past, stories of what I struggled with, etc., how I overcame battles. This is also going to get you more likely to act because I'm showing you like how it works, right? And also, I would say just creating depth about your topic is also going to get somebody to act, because people don't act because they fear the unknown. A lot of people fear the unknown, the, oh shit, what happens if I'm not successful, I fail, yada, yada, yada. So if you just create plenty of depth and you explain it, what you're talking about, and you explain it well, people will often act just by understanding what you're talking about in a more nuanced way. And so if you can create depth and give somebody information, oftentimes they'll go ahead and implement that information because now they understand the topic more vividly than they previously did without your video. And the way I'll portray value with content is the same way I'll do it with videos. But essentially, like, you know, Hormozi's famous fucking value equation is like, you have the perceived outcome times the perceived likelihood of achievement, right? Divided by, so it's all over, the time that it takes a person to achieve it. I'll do this, time times the work and sacrifice. Okay. So in essence, like, if we want to get people to act, we need to understand this at the core premise of it. And really, it's like, okay, then our content needs to map out the perceived outcome of losing the weight. And I'll show you a breakdown right now, actually. So for example, I'm going to mute it, but this is one of my clients, Reagan. She posted a reel like this. Now you can see it was this very simple reel. She had like the start of her being overweight, like playing volleyball, whatever. And then she has the end, which is her now in shape. She lost all this weight, whatever. Now this maps out the dream outcome. Think about it from a viewership perspective. The viewer sees this. What does the overweight person, 100 pounds overweight, feel? They feel like relatable. It's like, oh my God, yes, that's totally me. I feel unathletic. I don't feel confident, whatever. Then they see the video of her like smiling. She's happy. She's playing volleyball. She looks much happier. She's more athletic. She's more confident. She's able to be out on the beach, whatever. They're like, oh my God, I want to be able to do that too. I want to be able to do that too. And not only does it make the outcome more significant, but it also increases the perceived likelihood of achievement, because the person saw Reagan at the start, right? Let's go back to it. That was a terrible serve, Reagan, by the way. Reagan at the start, they saw her overweight. So when you see her and you are that person that's fat, right? Who's overweight, fat, whatever you want to call them. And you see this, like, oh, this person's like me. She did this. I can do it too. So that's what good content does in essence. And that's how we get people to act through that. I hope you guys can see that breakdown real quick. And I hope that example was helpful. And then we just want to make sure that we're kind of illustrating that, hey, it really doesn't take that long in actuality. And with my system that I use, it's not going to take you this much work and sacrifice. Like, it's going to be hard and difficult, but I can help you do it in a way where you don't have to deal with X, Y, and Z barriers. That's essentially what good content does at a whole. And it follows this general structure where it has the hook, proof, actionable advice, call to action, caption. And I might review a couple just so you can see them. Okay, let's go into one of my guys, Joey. I'm going to show you how he used the same formula with his content. I'm going to break it down with you guys. So let's play the reel from start to finish. I'll show you. So remember the formula I talked to you about, right? I said hook, right? We got social proof, we got actionable advice, we got call to action, we got caption. Now here's the thing, right? Hook includes visuals. Okay, so you got the visual, well, you got the fucking text headline, which is key. And then he's also throwing a fucking, I don't know what this is, but he's throwing a fruit. So that's another visual hook. There's motion. There's something that immediately your eyeballs go, ooh, what is that? Perfect example of what I talked about, right? He's got a visual aid here. He's using it. He's fucking throwing it around. He's playing with it. And it means like people are more likely to fucking stick around because it's visual stimuli. And this is just an example of like a storytelling reel. Okay. Curiosity gap. He explained it, right? Here's why it's, well, I want to figure out why. There's a payoff at the end. I want to figure out why. And then also let's think about the proof. He looks the fucking part. This is the proof. He is jacked. He looks the fucking part. And so he doesn't need to do some bullshit because his physique is the proof.
My card, I eat no dairy. And he asked me, he's like, "You're not vegan?" I said, "No, I'm vegan." Because of all the misconceptions and myths out there, absolutely could not believe it. Now he started asking questions like, "Oh."
You see this, right? It's storytelling because all the myths, he couldn't believe it. He didn't know that I could look this good and be in shape. You know, he's storytelling. He's telling a story. Guess what? Dream outcome, right? It's always mapping back to like, oh, this is the life that I lead as a fit person. Okay, so it shows what a fit person's life is actually like. Here's an experience that happened to him. He's fit, he's in shape. Guess what it does to the person watching this? I want people to think of me that way. I want people to hold me in that regard, in that light. Dream outcome, right? I mean, fuck. He's giving people reasons to go vegan. Think about it. He's giving people reasons to go vegan because he's showing you like, hey, if you do this, you'll look like me. You'll have these results. This is the examples. He's giving you proof. More fucking reasons, right? Like he's giving you reasons to act. Go spread the message in a way that actually spreads the message for what it is. Call to action. So you see, I'm not bullshitting. I'm not pulling this out of my fucking bum. You see that it works. I showed you the graph. I showed you the fucking graph at the start of the video. Where is it? Fucking this. I showed you this. So obviously it works. You just have to fucking do it. And so that's how you make content as an online fitness coach with this piece. Now, second piece, which is stories, right? We got to figure out how to make Instagram stories. Stories are absolutely, they're excellent. They're game. They're elite level for online fitness coaches because everybody's a bullshitter. Everyone's posting their fucking best moments, their highlight reels, whatever. And so if we can show people how like our life and how we navigate our own life and how we conduct ourselves day to day, if we can highlight that, then my God, they'll be on board, right? We're building that connection. So we want to show people the struggle, the real, the bad times, the times when motivation's fucking zero. And I'll go over the 4 types of stories here. Number 1, you got personality. Okay. Showing your why and values. I saw a clip once of Dan Martell's videographer, content strategist, and he was basically talking about how somebody bought from Dan Martell because he gifted his videographer a GT4 RS because it showed the quality of person that he is. That is an example of what I was talking about earlier. How people work with you, they buy you. And so we have to show people our values and the quality of person that we are because that's what people relate to. And so you guys can read this off, right? We show people our family values. We show people the personal struggles, our mission, why we do what we do, because we're human beings. Then we show the real journey. Okay, so the client sessions, our business growth. How's our business doing? The discovery content. Not everything is about being an authority, okay? Some things are about discovery, which is like, here's what I'm going through. Here's what I'm dealing with. Here's my business growth. Here's what my business is actually doing. And then showing how proud you are. Okay, then like client sessions, business transparency, we got all of these. And then social proof. Okay, so like showing client wins and showing results without bragging about it. Before and afters. Mike lost 35 pounds in 4 months. Like, but that's fucking amazing. You know, the real win. Yesterday, he told me that like he feels confident on his shirt off, and it's just a real sign of what you can do with hard work, guys. All of you are capable of doing this. None of you are like, you know, infallible. None of you can like not lose weight. You're all capable of it. Yada, yada, yada. Done. Motivating people. Unexpected victories, right? Got this message from Lisa today. She's been with me 2 months and her back pain's completely gone. Community wins as well, right? Showing the group workout. You basically want to make your clients feel like the heroes of the story. Root your clients on, cheer them on. What do we do there? We build FOMO, the fear of missing out. Think about it. It's the FOMO. It's the fear of missing out, right? Everyone has this FOMO. It's the same thing you feel, and you feel all lonely because your friends are at the bar and you're doing nothing, right? It's FOMO. So if we can do that with our product or service, people will fucking buy it. And then CTAs. These are just to get people DMs, get people in the DMs. I like a couple different kind of CTAs. I like hard CTAs. I use sparingly. These are direct offer CTAs. So, hey, I'm taking on X amount of clients. If you're interested, DM me blank. I'm more of a fan of soft CTAs, which are often call to actions to a free resource, or like polls, meaning, hey, what's the big goal right now? Lose weight, gain muscle, recomp, like what is it? And I'll have them click a poll, and then I'll DM them for outreach. And I'm going to go into that in the DMs and sales section. But that's essentially what I'm doing here is I'm getting people in DMs from the stories because I've built this trust. Okay. And then from here, there are story sequences. You see guys do this all the time. I don't really do it. I'll keep it a buck. I'm just lazy. And in all honesty, like I don't really fucking like doing this. It's just not for me. But like I have clients that do it, so I have to teach it. Story sequences are essentially when you have like a story and it builds on itself. You've probably seen multiple of these, and I've done a couple in the past. Maybe I can show an example. Aha. So you can see here, right? This is an example of a story sequence, really. So it's like, it's on my stories and I tell a story on my stories, right? So I'm kind of building on each one. So I have a slide, then I have a slide, and then a slide, and a slide. So it's pretty easy, but I just wanted to show an example of it. So that's essentially what a story sequence is, but like that's kind of how you structure it. You could just sort your ideas. So step one, you do a brain, just write down everything that comes to mind, and you can like actually use AI to like sequence your brain dump later. You can even speak to it. That's a method that I like to use with clients. And then from there, you just categorize, you sort them into the 4 types. Like, is it a personality, right? Your values, family time, is it documentation? Are you documenting the workouts, client sessions? Is it social proof? Is it CTAs? And then just creating batches, picking like 2 to 3 photos or videos from the camera roll, and then just having the story text in advance, and then just, you know, basically scheduling them or saving them as drafts on the story. I think you can save them as drafts and post them, but that's kind of what a story sequence is. It just kind of like builds on each one, and that's kind of the gist. Advanced strategies that you can utilize is speaking to one individual. If my ideal client is a postpartum mom, then I should probably be talking to postpartum moms in my story, right? 2, addressing every objection, listing every excuse and all the bullshit you hear on sales calls. You know, yesterday a fitness coach told me he needs to think about it. Isn't that the same bullshit that your clients give you, right? So I'm handling these objections because good content, believe it or not, handles and pre-handles objections. That's what good content does. And that's something that I do for my guys in partnership, is like kind of help them do that and help them map out their content, ideate so they can handle the objections most effectively. But good content addresses and pre-handles objections. So it's like, if I always get the objection of, yeah, man, like it's just too expensive, I can't afford it. Maybe I show in my reels or stories that the average cost that an American spends on fucking like eating out in a month. Cool. Maybe that's how I'll address those objections, right? Easy. Then from there, I'm unapologetically authentic. So I just share the shit that other trainers won't, meaning like the bad workouts, the junk food, like whatever, and just like sharing it and how I'm dealing with it and how I'm overcoming it, right? Like the hero's journey arc, the character arc. Hey, here's what I'm going through. Here's my perspective on it. And here's how I'm developing as a person. This works over a period of time. Understand as well that like these are not going to have, like all the stories are not going to have an instantaneous benefit, but it compounds in the background. People have reached out to me from stories all the time, but it's just taken time. And when you really think about it, it's like everyone always goes, oh, the same people are seeing my stories. That's the fucking point, dude. The same people are supposed to be seeing your stories because that's what gets them nurtured in more warm / hot as a lead so that they actually buy. And so the magic isn't about one single fucking story. It's about consistently posting these stories and compounding them so that when someone follows you for 3 to 6 months and sees like, your authentic personality, the real struggles and wins, your clients getting incredible fucking results, and also your valuable free content, that they don't just like become a lead, they become a fan who like really supports you, your message, and is part of your brand mission and goal and wants to fucking buy. And that's really what sets you apart as an online fitness coach, is when you do this consistently. Because people, unfortunately, have delayed gratification, or have the inability to delay their gratification, and can't just hold out for a little bit and keep doing it. So like what really makes this work is consistency. And you'll start to notice after like 4 weeks of doing this that you'll have more inbound DMs. You'll have more people reaching out about fitness coaching. And I'm going to actually go into how to do DMs right now. Okay. So now that we've covered content, we've covered the offer, I want to go into DMs. How can we actually use our DMs to book in qualified calls? So essentially here, what I have is a little diagram that I mapped out about DMs and what you guys can do. So we'll just go from here. Now, I'll establish some daily targets. Really what we want is to finish our morning sweep by around 8 a.m. Meaning morning sweep, how do I do it? Typically what I'll do is I'll just scroll through my old inbox. I'll look at all the warm conversations. Did anyone reply overnight? Who followed overnight that I could potentially reach out to? I'll look at all the opportunity. A good coach starts by being a good salesperson and business owner. And part of being a good salesperson and business owner is creating what's called a sales ecosystem, where you have an abundance of opportunity to sell to. And that means every morning you're kind of going over, okay, like who are my potential prospects? Who is closest to closing? In sales, we always want to prioritize the prospect that is most likely to close. And we always want to target that person. So if I have someone that's like almost ready to book on a fucking call, I want to prioritize that prospect. I probably don't want to be prioritizing somebody that's just random that just followed me now. No, I need to get this guy booked on a call first. So always prioritize the most likely to close prospect. Then from there, I'll set up a goal to be like, okay, open up 50 plus conversations a day, or at least start them. And then keep your average reply time under 10 minutes or so, meaning like every hour or two, you're checking the inbox. Then from there, we want to book 1 to 3 calls. Then we also want to update our GHL notes, right? And meaning like your notes on your appointments. You could use fucking Google Docs, calendar, whatever, and then follow up with leads, etc. What I mean by this too, by calls bundled efficiently, is like you should have blocks, right? So for me, because I have a busy schedule, if I'm taking calls, I will block them so that it's essentially like call. There's no time in between calls, or maybe I'll have like 2 minutes in case I go over, but like there's no time between calls because I don't want to waste fucking time. Like there's no point, right? Stick to your time that you set and just make sure you follow a good calendar. But let's go over DMs. So how do we do it? Well, it starts by obviously opening up a DM conversation. Now, before we set an opener, it requires us to do a quick little profile check, meaning like, are they a real account? Are they age 25 to 55? If not, probably unqualified. Are they like, what's the ICP? Business owner, athlete, desk, like who are they realistically? Because that will help inform your opener. With openers, you want to be personal. If you're not personal with your DM openers, you're not going to get a fucking response. The likelihood of you getting a response if you're not personal is going to be very, very slim. And so how do we be personal? Well, a method that I like to do is just like replying to someone's story that they have. Like, let's say they have a story. I'm like, oh, sweet, nice gym. Do you train there as well? Right? I'll mention something from their gym. Maybe I'll send them their own post and I'll mention something about it. Oh, dude, sick like truck here. I got one just like it. Right? I'm mentioning something from their profile to start that conversation and to connect with your prospect. So rule number 1 of an opener is always personalize it. Never copy paste and be lazy. People can sniff that. You can really set yourself apart by just being personal. Then if you're unsure if they're qualified or not, qualify through conversation, and still do it if you believe they're qualified, right? So qualify through conversation. This is especially important if it's an inbound, meaning inbound lead, they've DM'd you for coaching. So like, it would be basically the same process. Like if I'm an inbound, I'm over here, they message you, hey man, like what's the price? Okay, cool. Well, like before I even tell you the price, like I need to make sure that like we can help you because the plans are a little custom. So it kind of depends. And honestly, I can't really answer that honestly. So, what makes you feel like you might want to get a coach, whatever, like putting it back on them. And then I go back through here. But through outbounds, it's pretty simple, right? We just look at like, okay, how do we qualify them? We maybe ask them how's training going, like what's holding them back. essentially with the DM conversation, we want to get one overarching problem or goal, which is a tangible, and we want to get them to justify that. So if they give me like, yeah, man, like I just can't seem to lose weight. Like I don't know why. Like I just keep like binge eating. Oh, okay. What do you think's causing you to binge eat? Like I'm gonna probe on it so that they are forced to then like explain and elaborate on that. And it's important to recognize that in sales, you're either moving towards the sale or farther away from the sale, which means that we need to be intentional with the messages that we're sending. If you can remember anything from this fucking video, it's like in from the sales section, it's that you're either moving towards or away from the conversation. There's no in between. And so you can either be productive or unproductive in DMs, meaning that like the attention in DMs should funnel. We're going to keep talking about funnels, but it should go generally broad, and then it should go like narrower as you converse. Okay. So it starts broad, and then I go narrower as I converse, and I chat with them there. And so that's kind of what I do here. Is I kind of arrive to a general fucking conclusion in DMs, and I book them on a call. Same thing here. Okay. So like you should always be getting narrower. We don't start with like, oh yeah, my training, yada yada yada. We're talking about training, then all of a sudden I fucking bring up nutrition. I'm all the way out here, and now I have to fucking bring back the conversation here. It doesn't make any sense. So it's about training. Just fucking go talk about the training and get on a fucking call. All right, get them on a call sooner than later. You know when to get them on a call? When you've got the gold, which is essentially that pain point, and it feels ready to book it, which is like you have that emotional pain point. You don't have to dig super deep in the emotional. You can do that on your call. Essentially, like logically, it would make sense and you think they'd benefit from a call. I always try to make my calls a little bit valuable. So it's like either way, I feel like I'm giving value. So even if they don't buy on a call, like they're still getting value from it. Like I really do believe that. Like my calls with my team, I've set a standard as well. It's like our prospect should lead the call feeling number one, that we care for them. And then number two, that they've actually learned something. And that's just what I do, right? With every single person that books on my calendar or a team's calendar, I make sure that like my team actually takes the time to like give them a little bit of value so that they leave with the call feeling like, okay, they weren't just trying to sell me shit. Like, you know, they actually care, because we do, right? And that's a big piece of it, providing good service. So you shouldn't feel guilty about pitching a call if the call itself is valuable. So once you get the pain, then you just pull the trigger on pitching the call. And what I would do is just keep it like theoretical. You don't want to be straight to the point with it. You kind of want to be a little like hypothetical, meaning, yeah, I mean, just so we're not wasting time here in DMs, dude, if you want, like I have like a 45-minute slot open at like X time, Y time, or Z time tomorrow. We want to hop on like a quick chat. We could just talk a little bit about like where you're at now, where you want to be, and talk about maybe some action steps that we could put in place to see about getting some more help, whatever. So I pitched a call like that. I don't over pitch it. I just very casually drop the invitation, and I frame it as like it's going to be valuable for them, because it really is. Like we're giving value on the call anyway. And then from there, I just book it in manually, because I give them times. I don't like sending them the calendar link, because if I send them the calendar link, they're going to do fuck all with it and just like hold on to it like they're fucking hoarding stuff, and they won't book, because most people don't prioritize speed, right? And as like a business coach, it's really important for me that like my prospects prioritize speed. Like if they're not like jumping for joy, ready to get on a call, I'm like, I don't really want to work with these people. You know what I'm saying? And as a fitness coach, it's one thing I didn't like about the prospects, is like people just don't understand the importance of speed. Whereas at business owners, they're a little quicker. They're like, okay, yeah, let's get it. Let's hop on a fucking call, because no one likes wasting time. People just want to get straight to the point. And so what I'll do after that is I'll confirm it, and I'll run what's called the pre-call confirmation sequence. I'll change this to pre-call confirmation. And then I essentially run them through this sequence after they book. And what it'll be is I'll send them the pre-call VSL. I'll go over what that is and like what it means. And then from there, like 24 hours before or like immediately after, I'll just write immediately after booking. By the way, you shouldn't be booking over 48 hours out. It just doesn't make sense. You need to like make them create availability, ideally. Over 48 hours out just doesn't make sense. People aren't going to show up. And so immediately after booking, you send them the VSL. Then a morning of, you hit them with like, oh, hey man, like good morning, whatever. Like looking forward to our chat. Be like 2 hours. Hey man, just a reminder, our call's in like 2 hours. I'll see you then. And then 30 minutes before, see you in 30, 5 minutes before. Yo, I'll be on in 5, whatever. I'll be on soon, whatever. So like you might think, oh my God, is this a lot? No, it's not a lot. People get busy. Okay. You're not that important. People get busy and they need a lot of reminders. I've never had anybody. I've only had people say thanks. Dude, they'll be like, bro, I just want to say, man, like, thank you for the reminders because, like, I almost forgot about the call and, like, that really helped. I've only ever heard that, bro. If someone gets mad about reminders, dude, they can suck it. Like, go fuck yourself. Seriously. I'm trying to make sure that you actually show up for the time you booked in my calendar and waste my time. And so that's why I'm reminding you. And people get busy, so remind them a lot. That's the principle here. And then from here, the pre-call VSL, I'll map this out for you. It's essentially what we want to do is a couple goals, but goal number one is like, I would say, these are in no particular order, by the way. I would just say encourage them to show, or I would say give reasons. It's essentially like you're giving them reasons to show for the call. Okay, that's not working. Here we go. Giving them reasons to show. Number two would be like, I am maybe doing some objection handling. And so the thing is about like handling objections is you can essentially, using the sales calls that you take and the objections that you get, you can often frame the call in a way where you pre-handle certain ones. And I'll show you how you might be able to do that. And then number three is it's a way to like essentially avoid repeating info over and over again on calls. That's really like the three main things that a good VSL before a call should do. Is it like really encourages them to show and gives reasons. It handles maybe some objections. It avoids repeating info over and over, and it frames the call. Okay. So how do we do this? How do we do this successfully? I'll give you an example. Someone books in. Immediately after booking in, I send them a video. Hey, congratulations on booking in your appointment to talk about X, Y, and Z, whatever. So congratulate them on booking. Don't thank them for booking, right? You're congratulating them on taking action, taking that first step. That's what we're congratulating them on. Okay. And then from there is like in this video. So we start with the promise. In this video, I just want to go over like what exactly the call will be and like how I'll show you the exact system that I used blank or blank. So give them the promise. Then from there, explain why you're credible. Why are you a credible source of information? Then from there, I would do a disqualification, like who this call's for, who this call isn't for. Then from there, what I would do is once you have the like who it's for, who's it not for, I would go into like maybe the offer at like a high level, right? Offer at like a high level. And then from there, you can do like the general fucking theme of the call, like how the call is going to go and what you'll talk about. And you can just like have a call to action. So show up and just reply done to confirm you watch this video, or also have to give up your slot to somebody else. Boom. Easy. So that's typically how I'll do a VSL. It's very simple. Essentially, these are the fucking things. You just want to avoid repeating info over and over again on calls. You want to frame the fucking sales call so that on the call, you're not bouncing all over the fucking place and you're actually like focused so that they know what the call is. You're setting expectations. You're doing maybe some objection handling and you're encouraging them to show. That's essentially how you do a pre-call VSL. It's very simple. I mean, you can even like look up certain AI prompts to use. These are just very, very helpful between touch points with consumers to, put it in place. So that's all I'll say there. And then really we just want to like schedule a fucking call, have that DM reminder. And then once they're booked in and warm, we are good to go. So after booking, we send this, and then we just run this pre-call confirmation sequence. And then we make sure that we're doing our follow-ups as well. So like if people ghost us during any part of this process, you should have systems set up and put in place. And I do this for folks in the partnership where you catch that, you bucket them, and you bring them back up to the respective stage in the sales process. So that way you're not churning through leads. And really, really good systems will just like, okay, someone falls off here. Let's re-fucking touch them. Let's have a touch point sequence that we run them through. Let's send them like a meme or a specific a specific sequence of messages. And that way we can run them back through our sales process and get them on a call. So it pretty much repeats, right? If they fucking like fall out any point, you just kind of like plug them back in and then run them through the sequence. But that's pretty much how DMs work. It's pretty simple. Volume is key here. And then just make sure you critically think and reflect every week on some of your DM threads. So when you ask yourself, like, why am I not booking appointments? Just go back and analyze what happened in these conversations where you didn't book. Where did you do it well? Number one, where'd you not do so well? And how can you do better going forward? So that's what I would say here. Pretty fucking simple, overall DM flow, but this is kind of how DMs work. You get the main goal, you book them in for the fucking call, do it manually, you run the pre-call confirmation sequence, you send them a pre-call VSL, and then you are good to go. But yeah, and then we'll go over sales calls. Okay, so now that we covered fucking offer, we covered content, we covered DMs, now we actually have to do the process of like, we have them on the fucking call, we got to close them. Before I dive into the actual structure, I want to lay out some ground rules. Number one, questions are either unproductive or productive. Okay, so it either moves the conversation toward the sale or it takes it away from it. Number two, what you say matters, but how you say it matters as well. I'll give you an example. Why is that important to you now, though? Right? That's version one. Why is that important to you now, though? What am I going to get them to emphasize? That. I'm going to get them to emphasize why that thing that they just mentioned is important to them. Versus number three. Why is that important to you now, though? What is that going to get them to emphasize? It's going to get them to emphasize why it's important right now in this current fucking moment. So how you say it matters. Number three, a good closer on a shit script outperforms a bad closer on a good script. Okay? You can have an amazing script, but if you can't fucking say it and you sound like a retard, you're not going to be able to close. Four, goal is scripted, but not sounding scripted. So like you should have your conversation somewhat scripted, but you shouldn't sound scripted. And then fifth is like confidence is fucking key. Confidence and conviction is fucking key. I know people that will like could sell you anything just because they're convicted in their fucking product. And that's why if you sound like a puss, you will just get puss energy on the call and won't be able to close anybody. Now, let's go over the structure. Now, when you hop on the call, the goal is, rule number one, if you can remember this, get them to fucking smile. You have to disarm them. Immediately when they get on the call, they're like, oh my God, he's going to try to sell me, whatever. Get them to smile. I once knew somebody that every single time on a call, when he would go, how are you? He would go, oh, just be an Asian. Like he would just say that and then it would get them to fucking laugh and then he could close because like they're disarmed now. And so that's an example of like disarming people when you hop on a call because it's very, very effective because it just kind of opens them up and it creates like a friendly environment. So that's the overall goal at the start is you got to get them to smile. And then you need to confirm essentially the tangible and past experience. Now you might already remember, right? In the DMs, we kind of got that. So if you already have that, then we do what's called recapping. Recapping, what do we do? Well, we already got them to smile. Then we just reference the last step in the sales process. We give them some sort of label to confirm it lands and then map it back to our solution. So I'll give you an example. What's going on, bro? Can you like hear me? Okay, camera works okay? Sweet. And then I go into the recap, which is like referencing the last step in the process. So I know we were talking like back and forth in DMs, right? About how you were like trying to lose the weight and really what was going on is like you just had some inconsistencies in your schedule and that was kind of causing you to like binge eat on the weekends and stuff. And I guess like the real problem there is you don't have like an actual routine that fits your lifestyle, right? Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, yeah, so essentially the goal of the call today, and then I go into the frame. So I confirm that the label lands, the inconsistency, plus like them not having a routine, I confirm that lands, and then I go into the framing of the call. So essentially the goal of the call today is we're going to talk a little bit more about X, Y, and Z. We'll map out a plan, and then I'll kind of show you what we could potentially do, and then we could see if we're a good fit to work together, and if not, that's totally fine, but we'll just like explore it. Is that cool? Cool. Get permission, then you can proceed, okay? So that's kind of the gist there. Then logical is like you're essentially getting the logistics, I'll call it logistics, out the way. So think about what logical means. This is like you're getting that problem away. It's like those NEPQ like problem awareness questions, which is essentially getting them to like realize like, oh motherfucker, like I do have a problem. Oopsies. Meaning, okay, what are you currently doing? Like what are you currently doing that's kind of making you feel like you're not losing enough weight? Okay, I got you. Whatever you're getting, what you're currently doing, how long they've been doing it. And you also want to know like why they go with that regime. Now, some people go, do you like it? Like, I guess besides, do you like it? Some people do that. I have never been able to ask that question. I just don't like it. Like, literally, I do not like the do you like it question because for me, it's retarded. It's like, obviously, motherfucker, they're on a call with you, so they're not going to fucking like it. And unless you're talented, you're not going to be able to ask that question and feel confident because some people can do it and get them to focus on like what they do like and then make a joke. But like, I think it's just a little difficult. It's more of an advanced question. So what I'll say here is just ask them like, tell me what's working, what's not. Okay, tell me like what's kind of working, what's not with your current routine. Done. Much better. You're just going to get like, okay, what's currently working for them, what's not. The goal with this question is we want them to give us a negative description / adjective of the regime. So like you need to know what answers you want to your fucking questions. Because if you don't understand what answers you want to your questions, you're gonna look like you're gonna look like a fucking retard. Okay, so we want to know the answers that we should be getting to our questions, because that's going to allow us to be much more efficient in the actual sales process. Vs when someone doesn't fucking know what answers they want, they ask dumb questions and they end up like boxing themselves in and not fucking closing the deal. So before when I ask how long, I should already know the answer they're going to give me. And if they don't give me that answer, then I should like re-loop back to the question, probe again until I get the answer that I want. So what are you currently doing? What is the goal with this question? Get them to kind of say that the current routine they're following is inadequate or what they're doing and explain how it's not working. Cool. Get them to state and like emphasize that they've been trying to do this for a long time. And if they say that, then if they say it's a short time, then I have to create a bigger gap. So I have to figure out what I have to say to get them to stretch the gap a little bit farther. Because if they say a short time, I'm going to get the objection of like, oh, I'll just do it myself because I haven't tried it long enough. Okay, cool. So I'm going to pre-handle that objection. Then when they say why'd they go with that regime in the first place, or like what caused them to, then I'm going to just make sure that I'm building doubt, right? So the doubt question, like that's to build doubt. Oh, I just was like following some shit on YouTube, some shit like that. We're getting doubt. And then I just get like what's working, what's not. And then that gets me like a negative adjective or descriptor. Boom. That's logical, done. Emotional is what we call solution awareness. So we're building awareness around you as a solution and then getting them to focus on like what they've done to like get help. Like, have they been getting help, or like have they tried to fucking get help? If not, like why? If they did try, like how'd that go, and like why are they on this call? Right? So you're trying to understand like why are they on the call? Like what's the rationale behind getting a fucking coach rather than like doing fuck all? So that's the question. Is I'll always go with like, why are they looking at coaching rather than doing average shit? So like, for example, why are they on the call with a coach asking about like X, Y, and Z rather than just like watching fucking Mike Israel videos or some shit? Okay, you're essentially just trying to figure out like why they're being smart and getting a coach rather than doing the most obvious thing, which is like fucking off and doing nothing. If not, like before talking with you, what were they doing? This is what you're trying to find out. Before speaking with me, like what were you doing? Were you looking for fucking ways, or like what were you actually doing to put yourself in a better position here? Okay? What's prevented? What's shifted? / changed? If they haven't, right? Okay, so like what's prevented you from reaching out and getting some help up to this point? What's actually shifted to make you feel like you want help? So I'm pre-handling those objections at the end, and I'm building urgency to close by telling them like, oh, hey, what prevented you? This is essentially getting them to explain the bullshit reason as to why they haven't gotten a coach yet. Yeah, man, like I've been just fucking, being lazy. Whatever. Get them to admit some bullshit. And then I'm going to ask, okay, so what actually shifted now to make you want to get a coach? Don't accept or tolerate surface level bullshit. Like, oh, I just didn't think of it. Bull fucking shit, you just didn't think of it. Bullshit. What was the actual thing that prevented you? Don't lie to me. That's bullshit. And that's what we want here. And then from then, it's just the future pace. So essentially, in order to make a decision, everybody needs to know like what it's going to do for them, the motive, and what happens if they don't do it. So like, what happens if we do this? We lose the weight, we're feeling confident. Like what actually happened? What tangibly changes about their life? You're trying to understand that, because in order to make decisions, people usually need a big enough goal and a big enough consequence. Okay? It's very simple. It's like a very common psychological framework. If a person has a big enough goal, but not a big enough consequence, they might not work as hard because they don't have that fucking like lion behind them. They don't have that fire on their ass. Versus if you put a fucking fire behind them, you're like, oh, motherfucker, I have to go. It's the same reason why, like, if I told you to jump out of a window, you wouldn't. But if I lit a building on fire and then I said jump out the window, you probably fucking would. And it's because the building is on fire and you're going to burn alive. And you're like, okay, I just got to jump. You don't have to think twice. That's what we're doing here, is we're trying to essentially get them to realize that where they're currently at is so uncomfortable that they're no longer willing to tolerate it. they're no longer willing to tolerate being at this current physique, being at this current body weight for another 3, 6, 12, 24 months, that they need to change. And that's what they want to do. Okay. So they're no longer willing to fucking tolerate being this body weight, not having the physique that they want, etc. And then when you pitch, you just tie it all together. It's not that hard, right? When you pitch, you just tie all that shit together and you pitch it as like 3 pillars. So what are the pillars? And then fucking give it to them. Lay it out. Tell them how it is. It's not that difficult, right? So I'm only going to pitch what they actually told me their fucking problem was, and I'll pitch my solution based on that. If they told me that they were struggling with binge eating or accountability or whatever, then my pitch is about the accountability, and I'm emphasizing that. And so I know you told me that accountability was a big issue for you, right? That's actually why we have these weekly check-ins, right? So I'm tying in the deliverable to how they're feeling currently in their main struggle, tying in the deliverable, which check-ins, to how they're feeling. So that's why we have these weekly check-ins to kind of like hold you accountable and make sure you do X, Y, and Z to get the actual outcome and result, whatever. So I'm tying in the fucking the fucking like the label that they gave me, and I'm tying it into a deliverable of my service, which is the check-ins. It's kind of how I'm doing. So tie your deliverables into what struggles they told you they had. And that kind of frames your solution. It's like, oh yeah, yippee, and just use all the available context that you have, and then you're going to pitch price and shut your mouth. Drop price and just shut the fuck up. Yeah, so the total investment is going to be $3K for the 6 months. How would you want to proceed? That's it. That's all you say. But before you drop price, you might want to get like some sort of tie down. Some people like this. Do you think that would actually help you? Essentially, it's like, do you think that would like actually get you to XYZ result like reliably? Would it reliably get you there? Yes, I do. Why do you think that way? Okay, so the price is this, total investment's this. How would you want to proceed? And then from there, you just shut the fuck up, and then you can handle objections, which I will get into. I will go over the objection handling framework. But really, this is sales. This is sales. And it's all about just taking more calls. Obviously, if you have somebody there to review it, it helps. Like for the partnership guys, I review all of their fucking calls. And so when they have an objection, like I'm able to give them instantaneous feedback and fucking easier. And so that way we're not compromising revenue because they're just getting better. And by the next time they close, it's like, boom, we fix it. We fix the pattern and we just get better. But like, if you don't have that, then just do it yourself and then like fucking, try your best with this. But it's overall pretty simple, right? You have your intent, you do a little recap of the last stage in the sales process. You get them to probe about their problem. From there, you get the emotional piece of it. Like, why are they actually talking about like getting a coach rather than doing average shit? Before talking with you, like, what were they actually doing? What prevented them? What shifted or changed now to make them feel like they want a coach? What is it going to do for them? Okay, like what is coaching going to do for them? What does it allow them to do when they lose the weight X, Y, and Z? Like add context to it. So, for example, what's more motivating? A father telling me he wants to lose weight, or a father telling me he wants to lose weight because he doesn't feel like he's the man that his wife needs him to be. That is much more fucking motivating. And that's what you can get when you fucking probe. And if I had to give any other piece of feedback here, it's just like probe everything. And then when you probe everything, you can choose and select what you want to probe on later. And what I mean by probe is you're really just asking like why is that important now though? Or like, what do you mean? How do you mean? Oh, what do you mean by struggle? Okay. Why is that important to you not? So you just probe on everything. Okay. And then if you probe on everything, eventually you'll kind of like learn what to probe on and what not to probe on. So you might as well just start by probing literally everything that they tell you. And then eventually you can like filter out what to probe and what not to probe. But this is really sales 101, guys, for fitness coaches. It's not that difficult. It's just like you need reps and confidence. And then from there, you'll probably close some fucking deals. But you just got to confidently present your price and not fucking stutter, and you'll be Gucci. But like, we'll go into objection handling now and how you can like handle some objections that you might get on calls. All right. So now that we've done a sales call, how do we handle these objections that we're going to get? Well, I want to outline a simple objection handling structure that you guys can take away from here. So process for objection handling is pretty simple. Number one, ask question or permission, reframe. Okay. Once you reframe, essentially what you're going to do is push back, challenge, call to action. Okay. So, yeah, can I offer a perspective on that? Right. I'm asking permission. I'm getting a fucking yes before I proceed, because yes, objection handling is like, now that you've dropped price, it's a very logical game and it's very tactical, because it's no longer a friendly conversation. You've now just dropped price, so you're now an evil salesperson in their mind, and you're no longer their friend. Okay, so essentially what we want to do, get permission, then offer the reframe. So get them to change how they're looking at their situation. The biggest thing we can do is change their focus, change how they perceive their situation. If somebody's too focused on the money, I need to shift their focus to the value of the programming. I'm reframing it. Then I push back. So I get them to confirm. Why though? I push back to confirm, then challenge and consequence. I consequence them. So what happens if X? Then call to action, wrap it up. So I'm going to show you how this works. Okay. Number one rule, you can't make somebody fucking buy. You can't. You can only influence decisions, and you can only point people in the right direction to make a decision. And so like, there's no point in fucking forcing them or trying to like, do all this work, whatever. Just understand that all you can do is point them in the best possible position, like point them in the best direction to make a decision. That's all you can do. You can't force anybody to fucking make a choice. That's up to them. You can only equip them with the resources. You can provide them the accountability, but you can't force anyone. So once you get an objection, and this, by the way, is huge. Like once I truly accepted this, I fucking excelled in sales and took off, because it's like, you can't force anyone to do anything. You can only influence people, and that's it. You have no fucking control over if they close or not. You can't control it, because it's another person's decision. You can influence decisions, right? You can try to get people on the right track of thinking, but you can't control them. And so when they raise an objection, you got to run the money sequence first, because think about it like this. If money isn't talked about, there's no deal. If you're trying to run these stupid fucking reframes, heavy is the head that wears the crown, but you don't get money out of the way, you're going to sound like one, a fucking dumbass, and two, they might just not be able to afford it. So always get money out of the way first. I'll ask, okay, is it really just like the financials? Whatever. But like how I'll run the sequence is typically this. Money aside, do you actually believe that the program can do X, Y, and Z result for you? Yes, I do believe. Why? Like what aspect? Get them to define a clear component of the program so that they're getting back on track with the value. What are we doing here? We're reframing their belief. So before they were focused on money, now we're getting them to focus on value. Then from there, I'm like, okay, so is it really just a matter of like finances then? Yes, man, it's just the finances. Cool. If it's money, I will run the funding sequence. Well, could you find a way to fund it? What avenues do they have to get the funding so that they can X, Y, and Z? Get them to get creative and explore ways. If they cannot find ways, I'll offer up a payment plan. And what I'll do there is I'll be like, okay, I suppose, would a payment plan help? Yes, it would help, right? Cool. Then I'll offer a plan, but based on what they have, because I don't want to fucking shoot darts at a board I can't see. I can't. Like, I need to know what they're working with so I can actually fucking help them. And so what I'll do is I'll get the payment plan, and then from there, I'll offer that payment plan for them and then see how they want to proceed from there. Okay, so I do the payment plan, I offer it, and then I determine, okay, well, how do you want to move forward, like knowing that the finances aren't an issue? So guess what? The CTA is what? How do you want to move forward knowing that what they just gave me is no longer a problem? Cool. They're probably going to give you a no, because typically it's fear. Most objections are fear-based. Right? You have logistical objections, which are like them not being able to afford it. And you have fear, which is like oftentimes the prospect is just scared. Maybe they don't think it's going to work for them, maybe whatever, or maybe they're just like, that's just how they make decisions. And so what we want to do is like challenge that and get them to overcome that fear. So if yes, easy peasy, collect it on call, just confirm, and then, get them onboarded. If no, just proceed to the objection handling matrix. And then from there, it depends on what objection it actually is. You just have to identify it. So this comes with skill, but you have to identify what objection it is. Is it general fear-based? Is it a time objection? Is it partner? Is it think about it? Or is it like a do-it-themselves objection? How are you going to handle it? How you handle it depends on what objection it is. And I can role play a couple scenarios with you guys now in terms of how you'll handle it. But you just have to really understand that like their thinking process is flawed. The biggest thing that helped me too was overcoming my own objections. So if you have an objection, that objection is probably going to be the one that you suck handling because you have that yourself and you think it's rational. For example, if you typically do things yourself, or like you're opposed to getting a coach, even though you're trying to sell coaching and you don't want to get help, you're going to have a hard time overcoming that objection because you believe it's correct. When I know, and I've previously invested like upwards of 50K into my own skill set, that's fucking retarded. I'd rather pay people who've been where I've been at, who've done what I'm trying to do to get there fucking quicker. But if you're not like that, it's difficult to handle the objection because you see it as logical. But to me, it's not, because that's not how I make decisions. And I think that's a proxy of why I'm here, because of my decision-making process, because we're all essentially, we can either be victims or we can be like a success of our fucking decision-making process. Whether it is, for one or the other is just up to you and how you make decisions. But if you're one that thinks about it, you're probably going to stay stuck. So you need to know that, one, you don't have these objections, right? So eliminate these for yourself. And then from there, you'll be able to handle them better. And then just learn how to handle them. So I'm going to try to dismantle them for you. Think about it. All right. Let me try to, I'm not going to give you guys any fucking bullshit script or whatever. You guys can find that online. What I want to do is really dismantle it, like just from a logical standpoint, so that you guys understand why it's bullshit. All right. Yeah, man, I just want to think about it. Cool. Let's handle this. Do people ever really think about things? No. Nobody's that critical of a thinker to like draw out the fucking pros and cons. No. People make decisions based on how they feel in the moment. That's it. We're emotional creatures. And thinking about it is one way to ensure that you rot in hell and stay stuck. Maybe for a product, yeah. But if you're talking about a life change like fitness, no, you're never going to make a fucking decision. You've been stuck for X amount of time. Think about it. If every decision you've made has landed you here, then you have a decision-making process that is inherently flawed because you're stuck. So if you're making decisions from that same process, then you are inevitably going to stay stuck unless you change how you make decisions, which fundamentally requires you to then act. Pretty simple. Partner. Okay. I mean, do you set the table and do the dishes? Like, how long do you typically wait before like scrubbing them? I'm just joking. Essentially, this one could be kind of valid, and I can see the valid in this one, because it's like, okay, sometimes people are dependent on their partner with finances. What I would do is like, you want to get on the same side of the table first, because if you're not on the same side of the table, you don't want to pin the partner against each other. That's not good. You don't want to be a homewrecker. Don't do that. Get on the same side of the table and be like, okay, yeah, no, I totally understand. I just want you to like, we all just want you to have the best outcome, right? At the end of the day. Cool. So when you're on the same side of the table, then you can run them through the sequence. What if your wife was like, honey, you got to do this? Oh, then I do it. Okay, why though? Well, what am I doing? I'm pushing back. Oh, I do it because X, Y, and Z. Okay, cool. What if, you went to her and fucking she said like, no, the money's too tight. We just can't do it. Then what'd you say? Oh, I wouldn't do it. Okay, well, how do we frame this to your partner in the best way possible to where like she doesn't say that or she is on board? Because I don't want to do this if you're not on board. So we need to make sure that they're on board with their partner. And typically with this one, it's like, it's a little harder to collect payment on the call because people feel sensitive about relationships and it can be a sensitive topic for folks. And so like, I also noticed with clients that like, if they pushed for partner too much and the person actually did do it, the chance of that person charging back was a little higher because their partner could be pissed and lose their shit and then they could charge back. All right. So always make sure the partner's on board, essentially. You can have them like call them on the spot. But you also need to reframe it as their responsibility to make a decision, because it's like, dude, especially with business owners, man, like, does your wife have equity in the fucking business, or does your husband have equity in the business? So then why are we letting them dictate our decision-making process? Especially when school is like 140K, but that's besides the point. With a fitness coach, a client, it's like, whose responsibility is it to fucking do the diet, do the training program? It's theirs. So like, think about it. If you're fat client, fat fucking chud, fat client, okay, fat chud client does not have the skill set to get in shape. If tried and failed diets, if they go to their wife and go, oh, honey, I just want to like do this plan. It's $4,000. Can I do it? Of course she's going to say no, because why should the wife believe their fucking partner when their partner is literally fat and they haven't taken action and they've lied to her multiple times and said they were going to lose the weight and they bullshitted? Why would she believe them? She won't. Time. I mean, the only right time is now. Okay. If you believe this as a fitness coach, you're cooked. So you need to make sure you overcome your own objection. And logically it's flawed because like, dude, there's never any right time. There's always shit that's going to come up. I don't give a fuck what time it is. There's always shit that's going to come up. And wouldn't you rather have the skills to keep yourself in shape while you're busy so that after when life gets busy again, you can fucking know with confidence that you can stay in that shape? Or do you only do things when it's convenient for you? Because if you continue to make decisions like that, man, you're not going to get in shape ever. So that's the reframe now. Okay. Fear. This is pretty general, but like you can use certain reframes with this one. Do it yourself is like, I would just point out the flaws in that process and frame it as like, okay, well, why haven't you? And then just challenge and push back because it's fucking bullshit. Nobody ever just does a David Goggins like 360 and does it themselves. Out of the people that I get off a sales call with and those who do it themselves and are successful, that's happened like 1%. You are not the 1% of the time. I promise you that. And so like even the fitness client, they are not 1% of the time, whatever. So that's how you can handle that is just like outline how they've been doing this and it's not fucking working. So what makes them think if they keep doing it, that it's going to work? And then from there, you can close it or no close it, whatever. Just like remember that you can't control it. You can only influence it. And then try to keep note of these objections so that you can influence them in your marketing. Because realistically, you should be keeping track of like what objections you get most so that you can help inform your marketing or marketing departments and make videos tackling those specific objections so that you don't get them anymore. But that's objection handling 101 in a nutshell. Essentially, it's this kind of structure. You ask for permission. Can I offer a suggestion? Reframe, get them open to a new belief, a new thinking system. Push back, like why though? Get them to explain, elaborate. Challenge them. What happens if we don't lose the weight and we continue on our current trajectory of like doing this diet, whatever, nothing happens? Cool. Call to action. Okay, so what do you feel like you need to do to put yourself in the best position possible to where you lose the weight, build the muscle, get the body you want, and X, Y, and Z. Okay. So that's kind of objection handling in a nutshell. And if you run this, you'll probably crush it. It just takes reps. Okay, so one thing I wanted to touch on because not many people touch on it is the importance of building what's called a sales ecosystem. This is important because you can't just rely on marketing or sales. Okay, you can't rely on getting new leads all the time, and you also can't rely on your ability to close a bunch of fucking deals to get you clients. So it's important that we understand where we can potentially source clients or money from so that when we do have low months, which is inevitable as fitness coaches, right? It comes in seasons, that we know how to act when there's low demand. So let me map out a couple resources here and kind of explain this graphic that I've kind of created for y'all. But essentially, there's a couple different things. So in it, there's a few different sources where you can source leads from. So we have current clients, which then create referrals, right? You have past clients. You've got outbound DMs. You have content in inbound, and then you have re-engagement. So I'll explain each one piece by piece. The people that are going to pay you the most amount of money are always current clients because those are people that believe in the product or service and that when they get a result, you can then essentially map out like an ascension path. So this is important because when you're a business, let's say like doing the 50, 100K a month point, you don't want to essentially create a units game where every single month you're trying to chase new numbers and like more clients. When you can just sell to the people that you're already working with and the people that you like working with, and they can get better results and you can get more income as a business owner, and then everyone's all happy. So that's kind of the gist there. Now referrals, they're already pre-sold, they're pre-trusted, you can close them quick. Past clients, these are people who have like you've worked with in the past. Outbound DMs, etc. So let's actually start with outbound DMs. So outbound DMs, this requires you to DM somebody else and start up a conversation with like an opener, and then boom, they're into your pipeline. Okay. With content and inbound leads, these are people that like are coming into the pipeline. So it's new leads, right? It's people messaging you about like, hey, can I get coaching, get your service, whatever. So these are hot leads, they're high intent. Okay, so these are where a lot of your money is going to probably be sourced from, is like you doing outbound and then you also getting maybe some inbound leads here and there. We don't want to rely too much on inbound, so it's good that we kind of open ourselves up to other channels. Then we have re-engagement, which is something that a lot of fitness coaches lag on because either they forget or maybe we get like we just think it's too hard, whatever. But re-engagement is essentially looking at our pipeline and looking at people who didn't show up to calls, right? Canceled calls or didn't close on calls and re-engaging with those leads, either by sending them videos, content, testimonials, whatever, reactivating them with value and getting them back into our pipeline so that we can get them on another call, which is a follow-up strategy call, and then close them that way. And this is just one way where you can kind of like re-engage leads that you previously had in the past to generate more money as a business owner. Now, I guarantee that you probably have plenty of leads in your pipeline that you can reach out to. You just haven't gotten creative enough to do it. The problem is this that I notice with folks. They don't actually fucking do this because they're not desperate enough. And it's unfortunate to say that, but it's like if you require getting fucking desperate and needing to like struggle to find fucking rent money to want to hustle and grow your business, that's a problem. And it's because you're not focused on the value that you're providing to people. Think about it. If a lead booked in a call that canceled or didn't show up, this person is struggling. They're still fucking overweight. They need help. They're struggling. They need fucking help. So if I just leave them be and I don't follow up with them, they're not going to get help. They're not going to lose the fucking weight. And then it's my fault because I didn't make an effort. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, it's their fault, but I feel somewhat responsible because I didn't make any effort to try to re-engage with them when I know how hard it is to try to fucking lose weight in a cycle. I get it. It's hard to fucking get help. Sometimes people need to be reminded. And that's exactly what you're doing here. And so you need to shift your mindset from like money, money, money to value, value, value to I'm going to help these fucking people. I'm going to change these people's fucking lives because I have that fucking ability and I believe in my service and what it can do. And I believe in like my ability to provide my service to customers and deliver results. That's why you want to fucking do it. And that's why you want to fucking do this stuff. And that'll require you to get creative. So stop viewing it as desperate and start viewing it as like you're fucking passionate. I want everybody that's a fitness coach, ideally, to have my service. I mean, I can't because I wouldn't have enough fucking time, but I think it's that fucking good. I just think it's that fucking good. And I think I'm that good at what I do. And I'm so convicted. I'm so confident what I do that I believe that I could take someone from like 0 to hero or like 50 to 100. Boom. I can do that over and over again because I've done it. I can repeat it and model it and adapt it and boom. And it's that conviction that makes me do this shit. Because I'm like, I can fucking help these people and I fucking know it. And they're better off with me. So I'm going to fucking re-engage them. And then same thing with the current clients. Thing is, you don't upsell your current clients unless they need the upsell. If the upsell doesn't make sense, do not sell them the fucking package. It's stupid. Don't get greedy and extort your clients for more money. It's dumb. Only upsell if it makes sense for the customer and they would genuinely benefit from the more advanced help. I have plenty of clients that would happily pay me more money. I'm not going to fucking upsell them because they're not ready for it. Hell, one of them even fucking asked me, and he was in academy, wanted to join partnership. I told him he wasn't ready. I said, no, dude, you're not ready. You're not ready. Imagine that. Imagine a person literally offering to hand you money and you being like, no. That's just the type of business person that I am. I'm not going to sell somebody something that they don't need. And then once you have that mindset, you won't feel like a dick. And that's why I'm very confident selling to people, because I sell people what they need. That's it. And so with a current client, like maybe I see that he might need some go high level automations or like some more specific build outs in his business that I can probably help him do and set up for him on calls. Okay, well, that's going to cost him some money because that's a lot of my time. But I also know that I can give him a fucking amazing result and I could probably make him like 5x his fucking investment within a month. So I'm going to fucking sell him because I believe in myself. Then from there, we collect wins, referrals, testimonials just by proxy, providing an amazing service and delivering on our clients and getting people good results. And then from there, that leads to fucking referrals. And that also, the good fucking service and that you provide, etc., it maps to the referrals and also maps to content so that you can repurpose the work that you're doing in your business, the good, the genuine good, the impact that you're having on people's lives. You can fucking repurpose that shit and plug it back into content. And then that brings you more leads. See how it all fucking pieces together? This is what I love about business. It all pieces together. And so then with the referrals, right? The referrals, they also get good results. Then the referrals influence the fucking content. And then that's your fucking ecosystem. And with referrals, these are also high value because they're pre-sold. They've been edified. A customer, think about it. They had a dialogue with like your client already. So they've had dialogue with that client, meaning they've been edified already. So you are edified in the client's in the referral's mind because the client that you have has like gassed you up, whatever, like because obviously you did a good job, so they're gonna gas you up. And then the referral's already pre-sold, so they're not hard to sell, and then boom, easy. And so we want to prioritize the quickest opportunity to closing. And if we want to do that, then like you got to be maximizing referrals. I would say as a rough metric, at least if you're tracking your data, which you should be as a business owner, at least like 10%. I'm gonna make this bigger. At least 10% of all sales should come from referrals, because that just seems like a logical number to me. If you're lower than 10%, you're probably not asking for referrals enough. And then you'll probably have the question like, how do I ask for a referral? Good question. This is how you ask for a referral. All right, how to ask for a referral. Number one is like, do a good job. You can't ask for a referral if you're shit. Who wants to refer a shit service to somebody? Number two is people need an incentive. Think about it. People are going out of their way to like refer you to somebody else. They probably need some sort of incentive, whether it's monetary, free months of coaching, etc. And then number three, they need a firm ask. Meaning, I'm not going to just go, yeah, I mean, if you want, man, you could just go ask some people. Fuck no. I'm saying, okay, man, like, who do you know? Not notice. I didn't say, do you know anybody? I said, who do you know that could potentially benefit from a service like this? Oh, dude, I know this one guy. Okay, cool. How do you think we should connect? I'm asking him. Yeah, I think it would be good if you did the X, Y, I could. Well, do you think it would be better if you connected us first, though? Just so it wasn't awkward? Okay. Can I make a suggestion? What if you put us in a group chat and like you sent a picture of like you on a call with me or whatever, and you're like, hey man, this is JP. He's helped me so much with my business, X, Y, and Z. I know earlier we were talking, and I just think it would be good for you guys to connect because he helped me out so much. I think he might be able to do the same for you. And if not, well, at least I tried. Whatever. They sent a message. Boom. Well, now the fucking referral is in a group chat. They're in a three-way conversation with you, the fucking client, your client, and themselves. So now they feel fucking weird if they don't reply, because then they're ghosting their buddy. And so they feel like retarded if they don't reply. So that's the kind of fucking method you use for referrals. And then just give people like free months or referrals. So for example, our structure for like referrals, sometimes we'll do like commission, or we'll give them like a free month kind of thing just as an incentive. But that's one way which we incentivize referrals. So you just want to make it pretty obvious. And there's different times where you ask from it. Number one, I would say, is on the sales call. And I'll explain each one. Number two is like after they hit activation, meaning like get their first win. Number three is like midway through the term. And then number four is offboarding. So you have 4 opportunities to ask for referrals. You should do this with every single client. On the sales call, very simple. There's the script you'll run. And like what I noticed is like a lot of guys that I work with, they're always more successful when they have a friend on board. And so like, who do you know that could potentially benefit from something like this, where you'll work together and like collaborate? Like that's fucking money. Tell me that's not a good line. Number 2, after they hit activation, they hit their first win. It's like been a week later. You message them. You're like, sweet. And I don't know if I told you, I wanted to just make you aware because I do this program, and I didn't want you to be like upset if I didn't tell you about it and you heard through, if you heard it through somebody else. I do have like a referral program essentially where like you have the opportunity to earn an extra month on your program. I just want to let you know. Who do you know that could also benefit from this? Boom, money. That's number 2. Number 3, midway through the term. Yeah, I know we were talking about it earlier. I know you gave me a couple guys. Who do you know that's like that could also help? Boom, done. Number 4, offboarding. You just ask it again. Easy, money, done. 4 times to ask for a referral is number 1 on the sales call, 2 after they hit activation, then midway through their term, and then offboarding. And then that's how you get referrals through that. And then with the referrals, that gives you more content, and then you can just get fucking referrals from those referrals, and then you can get referrals from the referrals from referrals. And it's like a fucking engine, and it's fucking awesome. And that's what providing a good service does. In addition to that, you also have my favorite lead generation method, which is going fucking door to door. I'm kidding. That is not my favorite lead generation method. But believe it or not, a lot of people will say they don't have leads, but they fail to look outside and realize that there are fucking leads everywhere. You guys need to adopt an abundance mindset. There are leads everywhere. There are so many fucking leads. There are leads up your ass and to the fucking left. There are leads outside McDonald's. There are people outside Culver's. There are so many overweight people that need your help. You just have to have the confidence and the fucking courage to go up to them and say, hey, I think I have something that could potentially benefit for you. You want to have a chat for a little bit about it? Done. My first ever fucking fitness client was somebody that I talked to in Target about protein bars. Yes, I started a dialogue about protein bars and I booked him into my calendar the next day, closed him up, boom, and I ended up losing like 30 or something pounds with him and he was fucking awesome. Boom. It's like that. If you want to make more sales, have more conversations and genuinely believe that you can fucking help people and you have a service that is fucking top tier. And I promise you, if you can fucking do that, you will smash it. So that is the sales ecosystem. Don't just depend on new fucking leads all the time because business is uncertain. It has its ups and downs. You cannot fucking depend on it. Okay. So you need to have a fucking ecosystem that you create and then you'll be good from there. Oh yeah, by the way, so for past clients, a lot of people are like, okay, well, how do we reactivate them? Essentially, there's a couple ways you could do it. I just like keeping in touch with all my clients. And that's not out of a motive to like fucking like get money out of them or something. It's more so just because I like my clients and I like talking with them and I want to make sure they're good. But it's also a perk that comes with being a good coach where like if you stay in contact with their clients, they'll often refer people to you. And so I always just make an effort, man. Like, you know, people who work with me, I try to reach out to them. You know, I literally could recite every single person who's ever worked with me by name. Like if you gave me like a little hint, I could easily fucking do it. I would need like to see like maybe a list of like first letters and I'd be able to just fucking fill in the blanks. But dude, out of like 150 clients that I've worked with at this point, actually like more, it's like 250. On like 250 clients that I've worked through across fitness and business, I could name every single one by fucking like their first name. Easy. First and last name. And that's because like I try to keep in contact with everybody. You know, I try my best to like reach out. I try to let people know that I care for them because I do. And it has served me immensely in business because like I have been able to, like, for example, I've had clients that, you know, have left for a little bit and they've done their own thing. And then they decided they still wanted to work with me and they thought I was helpful. So then they came back and was like, hey, like I'm ready to start back up again. And that's just by like keeping in contact with them. Just fucking like say sayonara, sucker, you know? If a client messages me, if an old client messages me today, I'll respond to them. I'm not gonna fucking ego them. I'll still answer their fucking question, even though they're not a client anymore. Once a client, always a fucking client, dude. I always do that shit. That's how I operate. It's how I operate in business, and I think it's a large contributor to my success. All right, so now you've closed your client, but we got to make sure we onboard that client successfully. So how do we actually do this? Well, this is something I see a lot of business coaches miss on, unfortunately. And it's something that's the most fucking important piece of all is like providing a good service. If you could provide a good fucking service, you will never go out of business. Because think about it. If you can provide a good service, your customers will refer people to other customers, and then those people will refer to other customers, and everyone will be talking about how good your service is, and then people will want you to win because they like your service, whatever. So by providing a good service, you get testimonials to use in your marketing, and then that helps influence the sales process, and everything gets better. So we want to make sure that we are onboarding customers for success. How do we fucking do that? Well, speed is key. Speed is the most important piece of any onboarding process. Because if you don't have fucking speed, your customer's gonna be like, oh, give me a refund, I want a charge back, whatever. So with every additional minute that goes by that a client is not onboarded, your risk for churning a client or disappointing a client is in the shithole. So how do you do it? Essentially, you close the sale on the call. Now on the sales call, when you're taking payment, you're going to book in that onboarding call. Hey man, like I'll just send you this payment link real quick. You just make your investment and then we'll book in that onboarding call and like lock in your slot. Done. So automatically I frame it as like, hey, make this investment. I'm going to book in your onboarding call on the call. And I'm going to give him 1 to 2 times that could potentially work for me in terms of an onboarding call. That way it's set in stone in the next step and he knows exactly what he needs to do. Then I'm going to give him tangible things to do up until the onboarding call. So within 24 hours, we want to have a client fully onboarded, ideally. And then with that, all we need to do is like we close them, book them on that onboarding call. Give them action items. Okay, so what you're going to do now is just like fill out your onboarding form. The onboarding form is going to take you to this, this, and this. And then from there, you'll be good till our call. Whatever. Awesome. What I would recommend is setting up a welcome email and having a template that all you need to do is change their name, which goes over the onboarding steps, right? Which is like step number 1, like lock in your program, like watch this video. There's a video of you going over how exactly the app works. This is crucial. I would say have an onboarding video. On the onboarding call, you do not want to spend time talking about how the app works or how the sheet works, whatever. Systematize it. You can save so much time in your business, like 20 minutes per onboarding call, if you just make them watch a video beforehand of how the fucking app works. And if they want to go back and watch it again, they can. Rather than explaining on a call every single time and then getting fucking exhausted, just make one fucking video. Systematize your business, right? Very simple. So you build out your first system. Awesome. And then from there, you just have 3 automations fire. Meaning, okay, client preps for the call, you build out their onboarding. What you're going to do from here is I would have minimum, like these are typically what I have my coaches do. So I'll tell you guys the same thing. You want to have like 5 or so templates built out. 1 push pull legs, 1 upper lower, 1 full body, which is like 3 times a week, by the way. 1. Yeah, let's do these. I would say like have a PPL, UL, have a UL, and then have a full body 3 times a week. Done. And that way you have a 5 times, 4 times, and 3 times a week because you'll do upper lower 4 times. And then that way you can make these for really any schedule. Because like whether or not someone wants to work out 5, 4, or 3 times a week, you just make the program for them and then just change the rep schemes, etc., to their goal, which I'll usually just program like 5 to 10. And boom, like you have your program templates already mapped out, and you have the instructions for how to do the exercises mapped out too, so they can go back and watch those. And then from there, I would have like 10 to 15 meals saved, ready to fucking fire off, and just adjust those meals to the client's nutrition preferences, right? To the client's nutrition preferences, or macros, I'll say, because you gotta have both. So for vegan clients, I had vegan meals prepped. I had everything mapped out. So as soon as a person was onboarded, I was able to get them fucking onboarded within the app within like an hour. It was so easy. And all I had to do was adjust the macros in the foods to their goal. And then on our call, I would explain it to them and exactly why I made each change. And people like when you explain the changes. Okay, here's why I did this. Don't just give them the fucking plan and fuck off. No. Again, remember what I told you about content, right? People need reasons to act. So you should be able to give your client a reasonable explanation as to why you programmed every single thing and why it's good for their goal. Super important. Big thing too. When a client got onboarded, the onboarding form would make them send me like a video or picture of their gym, as well as a gym's address. So I knew what equipment they had, and so I could help them pick the best pieces possible. That's what makes a good fitness coach. It's not about fucking like how much time you spend with the client. It's about the quality of the time you spend with your client, right? It's not quantity, it's quality with the time piece. So like if you can just really personalize the plan a little bit and like have systems, but be able to adapt those systems to each client, you will fucking crush onboarding every single time. So within 24 hours, there's no reason why a client should not be onboarded within this time frame. And then from there, you just drive the activation. So for me, for example, I had what's called activation points based on my avatars. So if it's a weight loss client, it was like they have to lose weight within the first week, because I noticed that fitness clients that lost weight in the first week were significantly more likely to follow through with the program than those who did not. With partnership clients that I have, with a partnership or academy clients, with guys that are in my program, guess what the activation point is for them? Just guess. It is they make a sale within month 1. For some, it's like paying off the entire program fee, which we've had happen multiple times. Just depends on where they're at. For some, it's like, okay, I'll be honest with them. I'll tell them you won't be able to make the whole thing back because like we're not really that developed yet. And so it's going to take us a little bit, but we will be able to close a deal or so in the first month. And so that's the goal with us, because I've realized that like if a person closes a deal, they're much more likely to take action on the separate steps because they feel like it's working. They have momentum. And that's what an activation point is. It's the thing, achievement, or behavior that if a client does within the first week or month of your program, drastically increases retention. And so we just want to engineer onboarding early for activation. And if we can do that, the likelihood for a client churning will be incredibly low. You just want to make sure it's hit. And if it's not hit, then you create a micro plan of how to hit it. Okay. You did not hit the activation point. That will be a trigger for a call. It will be a trigger for a one-on-one call. And then from there, you just put together a micro action plan of how exactly you're going to hit the goal this time around. So that way there's no fucking questions, concerns, whatever, and they actually stay on board and they're happy, etc. So with onboarding, it's very simple. You just want to engineer your entire onboarding sequence for this activation point being hit so that a client gets a quick win, sees an instantaneous result in the program, and then you're good. You're fucking solid. So that's kind of how onboarding works. And this could also be a great place for you to ask for referrals as well. So how do we actually keep clients after onboarding? This is something that I don't see people talk about at all. And it's very, very important. So let's say I'm doing around $20,000 a month in my business and I have 40 clients at $500 a month. Okay, cool. Problem is this. If every quarter I have to take 60 sales calls and at, like, let's just say a 33% close rate, that yields me then like on an average of 20 calls or 20 sales. If I have a churn rate of 50%, then if I have 40 clients, I'm essentially replacing my customer base every 3 fucking months. And when you think about it, like when you sell a 3-month program, how many people don't re-sign? That's a problem. And that's why good businesses don't only focus on acquiring clients, but keeping their clients and making their customers more valuable. I know with a fitness coach that if I can make them more money, then they will just spend more with me. It's a win-win. If I make said fitness coach more money, they will just spend more with me because I'll be able to give them done for you services. I'll be able to run their automations, do X, Y, and Z. And so it's just better. It's just more advantageous for me to do that and set those systems up for them. So same thing here, right? But with fitness clients, and it might be a little more difficult, but it's still doable. And I want to kind of like outline some retention strategies that you can do. Because if we just halved churn, right? If we just halved it, this is 25% churn. You can see how we continue to grow with revenue. And then we hit another ceiling where we're got to like, okay, well, now we're signing more clients, whatever. So we kind of grow up until the ceiling. And then we either need to sign more clients above what we're churning or like lower the number we're churning. But I just wanted to show you here how like the only lever to pull isn't client acquisition. It's also client churn. Because if you're fucking churning your clients as soon as you're taking them on, that's a problem. And so like if a lot of your customers aren't re-signing, if they're not getting on maintenance packages, etc., that is an issue that needs to be taken care of in your business. So how do we make sure that motherfuckers don't churn and they stay on? Well, this is something that I use in my business. And it's called the red, yellow, green retention system. It's pretty simple. But essentially you can imagine that a red client is like, oh no, they're going to churn. Green client is like, yay, they're on par, they're hitting KPI or they're like hitting their goal. And yellow client is like, okay, they might need to be reached out or contacted because they're a little behind. And then I just set up like indicators or criteria for each color. So if I have a red client, for example, maybe the criteria for this is like they're late 2 to 3 days on a check-in, or activation point not hit in month 1. This is immediate grounds for a call, and I'll just give them a dial. For yellow, maybe it's like their payment is coming up soon, because that'll be like a flag, because typically like paying can increase churn because people just don't like paying things, right? So like paying, like before payment, you can see churn spike as well. So for me, I would mark that yellow because I would want to make sure that like a VA or someone contacts them to confirm that they're like good, that they're enjoying the program, etc. before they're billed. Then additionally, it's like maybe subpar progress. So like you have a standard, right? And maybe they have a standard and they're losing weight, and then maybe they stall for like a month. Okay, like, or that'd be actually like a red. If they stall for a month, that'd be red. Or they stall for a week, that'd be yellow, right? So you don't see progress for a week, cool, that's yellow. If it happens again, that's red. So you set up like these indicators, that way you know and can kind of predict when a client churns before they fucking churn. So that way you can be proactive, right? Green is like they're crushing it, they hit their activation point, and they're good. Okay. If you can just track this in a Google sheet and do maintenance on it, oh my God, yes, you gotta do fucking maintenance. All right, that's part of being a business owner. It's not all fun and games. All right, business is not all fun and games. Sometimes it's boring. And yeah, you gotta do the boring work if you really want to succeed in business. And if you just track these things, I promise you'll have a lot more peace of mind in your business, and you'll feel like 10 times better. You'll no longer feel stressed out that like everything's going to go to shit and everything's going to blow up. One more thing. I also had 72 hours no text from client. I had that auto move them to red. So if a client didn't text me within in 72 hours, because usually I had clients like text me throughout the week, I would just follow up with them because I had like 80 fitness clients by myself, which I would hire a VA now that I've done it and learned that I should have definitely had a VA, but it's my fault. You know, if I didn't get a text from a fitness client, I would 72 hours, bink, it marks them as red, and then I essentially would reach out to them. Now, if you don't have many clients, do not spend time automating the system, okay? Manually update it. It's not that deep. But this is just one system that I used in my retention to notice like a drastic increase in client engagement and also the results that clients were getting. So just adopting this red, yellow, and green system can be absolutely peak for your business. All right, and a big reason... All right, in addition to the red, yellow, and green system, one thing that skyrockets retention in fitness coaching businesses is having proper check-ins. So I want to break down the exact fitness coaching check-in SOP that I use in my businesses and that I give to fitness coaching clients or fitness coaches to help with their coaching clients. Yes, okay. So essentially, this is just how you can standardize it. What we want to do is just review their week for consistency, accountability, and real coaching value. If you're wondering why clients are churning, but you don't have a check-in and you leave your texts and that's it, you just have texting with clients, it's probably why your clients are fucking churning, because there's nothing there to hold them accountable. Just a simple check-in is amazing. So I use Loom, which is the same software that I'm recording this on. Essentially what I always do before check-in is this: I do a prep. It should take around 3 to 5 minutes tops. You do a prep, you read through the form, skim through it. You go to the data, so go to their training logs, look at the data from the past week, figure out if they're red, yellow, or green, and then determine any like early flags for churn. Some early flags for churn would be them not seeing results within like the week time frame. Remember, fitness clients can get like emotional. All clients can. So people want results quick, so we gotta be the bearer of bad news sometimes and set those expectations early on, so that way they don't have bad expectations. And then also, we do have to make sure that they are seeing progress, because people can burn. This is why you want to like track client results. One of the biggest issues, and whenever I've ever like lost a client, unfortunately, has been because like they haven't spoken up about something and we didn't track it as well as we could have, to be fair, and I couldn't view the data. So even though they might have said every week like, no, you're doing amazing, you're a great coach, yada, 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 there was data that I was missing out on because I wasn't having them submit their data to me. And that caused me to be, stunted in my decision-making process when it came to giving them coaching guidance, which was a problem, right? And so what I did was I just made it mandatory for them to report this data to me going forward. So that way I couldn't, like they couldn't fail without me seeing it. Like I would see it. So now with the coaches, they have to give me their revenue every week. They give me the fucking check-in every week, yada, yada, yada. So they actually report their fucking data to me so I can tell every single week, are they in the red, yellow, or green? If they're in the red, then I'll have like Danielle, which is my client accountability manager, like reach out to them and tell them to fucking send me their damn data so that I can get them back in the green. But essentially that's the importance of these weekly check-ins, right? So we just prep, we confirm their scheduled check-in day, make sure that it's scheduled. Do not let fitness clients do it whenever they want. Set a fucking standard in your business. Come on. This is a business. This isn't fucking kindergarten. Set the standard. Just like they have work, they have check-ins at this time, they're due at this time, and that's it. Then review. What we're going to do is a deep dive of the training and movement. All right, so what is the training? How'd they do? What movements did they do well on? What movements did they not do well on? Why? How'd they feel? Cardio, the form check. Always do form reviews. If you're not doing form reviews, that is a problem. So much value in coaching is just form reviews. Because here's the thing. If a client reports to you that they're doing a bigger weight than they did last week, how the fuck are you supposed to know if they actually did it properly or not? They could just be fucking like jerking around on the lat pull down and moving back and forth and not actually doing the movement. And so the only way we actually know if a client is progressing adequately or not is if we get the fucking form video. Because if we don't get the fucking form video, there's no way to tell. I don't know if he might have doubled he might say he did 20 pounds extra, but how do I know that he's not swinging back and forth like this, even though he tells me he's not? Because chances are you're going to obviously pick up on things as a fitness coach that they don't pick up on. And so it's absolutely crucial that they send you form videos so that you know how they're performing the exercises. So you have a standard to hold them to in terms of progressive overload. Then you go through body and visuals, right? What their weight is, what the measurements are, progress photos, go through their nutrition compliance, their hunger levels, absolutely crucial. I usually go on a scale of 0 to 10. 0 meaning like ravenous, like you're going to fucking crash out. 10 meaning you're stuffed, you're to the brim. It's called the hunger fullness scale. So hungry is like below the 5s, right? It's like hunger. And then above the 5s is like you're kind of feeling more full. 7 is satiated, is like a normal satiation feeling for those of you who might want to know that. And then recovery in mind as well. So like, the sleep, the stress and mood, that kind of shit. Absolutely crucial that you cover this stuff. A lot of fitness coaches fail because I don't know why that just fucking dope. Oh, okay. Can't open Adobe. I don't want to open Adobe Express, so fuck it. A lot of fitness coaches fail because they do not pay attention to the recovery in mind. They ignore factors such as sleep, such as stress and energy, such as mood, when these factors have a massive impact on the training and nutrition. These factors have a massive fucking impact. Because guess what? If I'm dealing with a coach fitness client that, let's say, isn't progressing in the gym, but maybe his workouts happen on the days where he's fucking working. And so when he goes to the gym, he's always tired, he's fatigued, he's whatever. I mean, tired and fatigued isn't the same thing, but you get what I mean. He's not going to be able to perform as well because he's tired. So his perception of effort's higher. Therefore, he's not able to output as much force in the gym. And so knowing these things, just knowing your fitness client schedules and being aware of like how the human body works gives you the ability to help them inform their training decisions moving forward. And then in addition to that, coaching signals. What were their challenges and wins? I always open up a check-in on a win. Hey man, congratulations on losing the X amount of weight this week. And then I frame the next goal. So a key part about retention and upsells is you always want to frame that next goal in your check-in. Hey man, thanks for submitting the check-in this week. I saw you were down 20 pounds. I just wanted to boom. So just wait until we X. So you're framing that next fucking piece. Wait until we hit that reverse diet and then we see X, Y, and Z. So at the end of the program, when it's time to do the reverse diet, I send them a loom with the fucking program in my structure for them, and they just buy that way. I don't even have to hop on a fucking call with them. They just buy. It's that easy. And it's just from pre-framing. If I pre-frame the whole entire coaching program about the reverse diet, the reverse diet, the reverse diet, the reverse diet, they're going to fucking upsell to the reverse diet. It's that simple. And then I just focus on the next week. I create SMART goals, right? Specific, measurable, attainable, realistic, and timely. Very easy. Note, use careful language around food metrics with anyone with like a history of disordered eating. You have to make sure that you are doing your due diligence as a fitness coach to adapt your service to those with certain conditions or disorders or diagnoses, because you do not want to get into trouble or make someone's condition worse, okay? And then feedback. Open with a win, address some key areas, answer any questions, set the next focus, and on a high end. Positive, motivating note, okay? And then just post it and send it over to them. So I'd encourage you to check this out and try it out in your next check-in. And then I'm gonna go over a couple other retention strategies that you can use. All right, let me go over retention pillar number 3. This is something that is like incredibly obvious, but like sometimes, you don't know what you don't know. And implementing this one thing literally doubled the average client result. It doubled it for my business coaches, but it'll do the same thing for fitness. It's this. I looked at all the data. I noticed that people that made a friend within their first month got roughly double the fucking outcome than the people that didn't make a friend in their first month. And so I was like, hold on, wait a fucking minute. Hold on. It was a little bit less than double. It was like 40, but who the fuck cares? Whatever. I was like, what the fuck? Are you shitting me right now? So I made it mandatory then for every single person who joins to get a fucking accountability buddy. Yeah. Does it sound a little corny? Sure. Does it fucking work? Absolutely. People who have somebody in the program going through the mud with them, they can almost like feed off of each other's energy. Now you just have to make sure that you put people with the right people. Part of that is like being a good leader. And so I'm good at like matchmaking and like putting people together where they should be. I think that's a good skill of mine. And if you're able to do that successfully, clients will get very, very good results. One way which you could do this in a community setting is just like people pay for like community, family, like that kind of thing. And so what I would say with fitness coaching you don't want to just have the one-on-ones. You probably want to have like some sort of group element as well once you're past like 15, 20 clients. And what you can do is have like a group chat. One's a little riskier. Depends on your client base as well. Like if you have a varying like fucking client base, it's probably not wise. But if you have a more tight-knit group of clients where it's very niche, it would make more sense. You can do things like group calls, group events, in-person retreats, etc. This is all stuff that you can do at like that higher level. So if you're watching this, you're doing like 20, 30 or so a month. These are all things that you should probably implement into your business at one point or another, especially the in-person retreats thing. Like in-person retreats are amazing for client retention. Really, really. Like something about just going out and like having all the clients come with, it's massive. So just creating a community out of it, right? Not having everyone in isolation. You have these people that page you, they're all working on the same goal. Why the fuck don't they connect with one another? It's retarded. If they're not connecting with one another, it's fucking stupid. You could be saving yourself a lot of time, like motivating and doing fucking group therapy, if people just had friends. So force people to have friends. There's a reason why in school, that's what they had people do, because it fucking worked. All right. And so if you do this, I promise you your retention will just increase. And yeah, that's kind of that piece. And then what I will do as well is talk about offboarding. So I remember I talked about earlier in this video about the sales ecosystem somewhere. I don't know what the fuck it, oh, it's here. I talked to you guys about the sales ecosystem, and I essentially talked about re-engagement, current clients, etc. So with these clients as well, the goal is that you re-sign them, but you're going to have funnel leakage as well. So current client becomes past client. How do you offboard the client without burning the bridge, essentially? Because sometimes, yeah, not all clients are going to re-sign, and that's fine. But for offboarding, we want to do it in a way where we don't burn the bridge, where we keep the door open for them always, and where we also get a referral. So here's what I would do. For offboarding, number one, before the call, you should review their progress and collect moments, collect wins. Imagine if you showed up to the call with a document that showed, hey, this is where you started, this is where you're at, here's the weight you lost, whatever, and it was like a little graphic. You can make it with Claude. These are the things that you can use Claude for, to make your service better, to make your service more engaging. It goes such a long way. Oh my God, dude, this guy fucking JP, like he built this fucking thing for me. It was insane. When you ship a client off and you go over their whole fucking journey, like that's something tangible that they can leave with and see the fucking results that they made within the program. They can reflect on it. And it's just a massive piece. Just like going over their progress, going over their process. It's just a massive part of fulfillment, right? That I think like not enough people focus on. And so like just giving somebody that fucking document is such a huge piece of that. So reviewing their progress, we're collecting their wins, then asking for the referral, and then leaving the door open and like celebrating the success. It's like a bittersweet moment. Okay, offboarding, it's a bittersweet moment. And that's essentially how I do the offboarding process with fitness clients. But yeah, not everyone's going to re-sign, and like you want to kind of keep the door open so you can keep them in this ecosystem, and you don't want people leaving the ecosystem entirely and churning completely, because it's just like unnecessary, and that probably means there's something going wrong in your business if you're doing that consistently. Thank you for joining me on that journey, and I hope you learned something. Now, if you did learn something, and if you liked what you saw there, what you will get in the partnership is like 10 times as much. If that's something you're interested in. If you're not, you're fine. You can take the free value, you can do that, you can implement it, or if you want help implementing it to get quicker results and to actually like guarantee your success or have a higher likelihood of success because nothing's ever guaranteed, then what you need is a partner where you'll get step-by-step direction in an actual plan every single week of what you need to do and what you're going to spend time on and the specific agenda under that. And if that sounds like something that you want actual help with, book in your call in the bio below in the little description, and we can chat about if the partnership is right for you. And then either way, you'll leave with a clear game plan. So it's like there's no risk to it. But yeah, hope you guys enjoyed. Please leave a like, leave a comment, share this with a friend who might help with it. And I appreciate you guys.